Yo, 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 what's going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown, episode 222. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and I'm joined by Emilio Lopez,
What's up, people? How's it going?
Chris Seeley,
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero,
Yo, yo, yo.
Adam Vale,
Shalom, internet.
and Brian Manjoma.
Yo, guys, what's good?
What's going on, man? Hey, Brian, you're not faking any crimes, right, over there in England?
No, it's not 2 a.m. yet.
It's not 21 below and shit, right? Oh, man, wink, 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 you know? Oh, how's everybody doing? We're back with another one. Barry already holding it down. You already know. Brett will join us in a little bit. He's in some dinners. Everybody seems to get hungry around this time on Throwdown, I noticed. Very interesting to me.
He shouldn't. Yeah, he really shouldn't be eating this late because I mean, in our time, it's almost 10 o'clock. That's kind of late for him.
Yeah, well, he usually eats at like 2 a.m. his time, so this is early for him, you know?
Yeah.
It's interesting. All right, a couple of things before we start. First, I want to give a big shout out to Danny Pena from Gamertag Radio. I was recently on a new thing they have going. It's a new like offshoot series called Daily Conversations, and what's cool about it is basically he just records a phone call that he has with people. So he called me up on the phone and we started talking. We're talking about Crackdown 3, like negativity and you know, gaming, you know, towards that game, and you know, games that we like that were not really looked favorably upon, like, you know, Rise and Rome, Order 1886, shit like that. Really good conversation. Go over to Gamertag Radio and, you know, they got all that up there. After that, just gonna keep hammering this home. Discord people, we're already on Discord, and we have some really good conversation going on. Every day there's always something popping in there, so if you haven't already, please join our Discord. It's, you know, you can find the links to that on our Twitter, right here, right below on Twitch, and even our YouTube. The links are everywhere, and yes, it is an updated link. It's a perma link, not like before, you know. And we also got to do this now, even though I don't think we gave it much thought, but we'll figure this out during the course of the thing. Carlos, we're gonna do this contest today, man.
Yeah, let's do it.
Just fucking do it, man. All right, so today we'll figure this out as we go because, you know, we're not that organized right here. We're going to give away a game courtesy of Spawn on Me, who's live right now, I believe. But stay here. Don't go over there. You know, basically what's going to happen is they're going to give a game away to their audience courtesy of us, and we're going to give away a game to you guys courtesy of them. So we're probably just going to ask you something random, and the first person who answers will give you a free game of your choice, but no special editions, none of that nonsense. $60 game, nothing above that. $60 or below. You know.
And the caveat is you have to be on Discord.
Ooh, yes, that's a good one. Let me throw that Discord link in there right now. Make sure I didn't give somebody else's Discord link away. That would have been crazy. You know,
It's like, yo, these people jumping in asking me for shit. I gotta close my account.
You know. All right, so I'm gonna leave the Discord in there. Okay, I know what I'm gonna ask, but I'm gonna wait a little bit. I wanted some more heads to get in here. Then I'm gonna ask the question. Something simple. I was gonna ask you. We're gonna do this for another contest. Let me not do that, but I'm going to ask you a really tough question for a future contest. Carlos, you know what I'm talking about, right? But that's like mad deep. No one's going to get that shit.
Yeah.
You know?
How many stains do you have on your underwear?
Yeah.
What?
Sketch. It don't matter if you're on mobile, baby. Yeah, I already know you're on Discord, so you're good. You know, again, you don't have to answer on Discord. You can answer right here on Twitch. Actually, yeah, if you typed it, you're good to go. You know, but I'll ask that in about an hour or so. You know, and then the last thing before I forget, just quickly, we have actually 2 streams. I think one of them's already up. The next part will be up on Friday. Me and Carlos playing Halo Combat Evolved.
Wait. I thought you were doing the Halo series. What happened to Halo Uno?
Combat Evolved, dude.
That is
yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, we did.
Oh, you did it? All right.
This man don't listen to me, man.
I don't
what
know.
the fuck?
Are we talking about Sega?
Yeah. Yo, playing Panzer Dragoons. So yeah, this was the first time I ever played the Halo series, and this is the first time Carlos played this particular game in 18 years. So it was kind of like a first for both of us. It was a lot of fun, man. We did co-op. We did it in 2 nights. So it was about 3.5 hours each. Yeah, man. I mean, we talked about this during the stream, but we'll do it again just for you guys, and also to give Brett some time to get in here. Carlos, what did you think of revisiting the Halos?
It was very interesting. It's like it's surprising like how much how many times we've died. I just never really like thought about it until we finished the game. I'm like, we died a whole bunch, and it's like that doesn't happen in first-person shooter campaigns anymore. Like progressively, games have been getting like we talk about this almost every week. Games have progressively been getting easier, and like Halo 1 came out in 2001, and it wasn't easy. I mean, we breezed through it, but it's like we died a whole bunch of times.
Yeah, we did. But just to jump in on that, because I've been playing it on my own as well afterwards. Okay, Carlos, this didn't happen to us, and I think if this would have happened to us, we would have gotten really mad. I rage quit. You know the part where you rescue the captain? I didn't realize that motherfucker could die. He died like 10 times on me, so I'm like, fuck this. I turned it off. I was pissed, you know? Like, he kept getting killed by the little needlers. That didn't happen to us when we played, but imagine if that shit did happen. Yeah, we fucking died a lot. But I was kind of prepared for that. So I'm like, games were harder back in the day, you know?
Well, you could still just change the difficulty.
Like no, we don't
Modern
do
Warfare
that.
3.
Yeah, we don't do that, man. We play on normal, son.
I don't know.
You know?
Yeah, man. It's still pretty cool revisiting the story. This is actually the first time also that I've not only got back to Halo, but it's also the anniversary edition, which has all the refined graphics and stuff. And me and Tony have been like switching from back and forth pretty much every level, and it's like, man, look at the difference. And some of them, it's like, wow, this kind of holds up. Like it's like it doesn't look that bad. So
yeah. It's interesting, like when the game holds up, it holds up really well. I thought the controls are very good, and some of the visuals, like when you switch back to the old mode, I'm like, wow, that looks good. But when it falls off, like visual-wise, it falls the fuck off, you know?
And also one of the interesting things is that, like Tony mentioned in the stream, it's like, good thing, I don't know if, I think you mentioned this, like, you lowered your expectations when it comes to the sci-fi story since you played Mass Effect before that. And it's like, it's pretty good because while Halo as a franchise has a great sci-fi story, it's not the deepest one, like compared to, for example, Mass Effect, which is a lot of people's favorite franchises on this show. So it's like, it's good to have your expectations leveled because Halo is that big of a franchise where it's possible to raise your expectations to a point where it's like, it will never meet it. Especially like this far away from the start of the franchise.
Yeah,
so that is pretty cool.
Yeah. Talking about the story, my friend Evil Chris, he told me this years ago because he was a huge Halo guy, and what's cool, interesting about him was he couldn't play first-person shooters because it made him dizzy, but he loved the story of the first Halo so much he endured it. He could only play like an hour a day, you know, like 10 minutes at a time or whatever, but he endured it because he loved the story so much. But years later, he told me, because again, he was like, oh my God, the story's so good, the story's so good. Years later, he was like, oh man, I wish you had played Halo before Mass Effect because that story's not going to seem that good to you. And when I play this now, but again, I had my expectations in check. I was like, yeah, this is not as good as Mass Effect. But I will say, I do like the fact that the game, you know, story-wise, you know, it's like, okay, Mass Effect is very much inspired by Star Trek and Star Wars. You could tell that off the bat. This, you could tell it was inspired by Robert Heinlein, you know, Starship Troopers and all that other stuff. So it's kind of cool. And it's interesting, and I told you this during the stream, I'm like, yo, these guys really ripped off James Cameron with the designs, man. It's crazy. And I remember when Avatar first came out, people were like, yo, man, James Cameron's ripping off a Halo. It's like, no. They took that shit off of me, you know?
Yeah, it's still, even though it takes a lot of aspects from a lot of movies and stuff like that, it's still like kind of has its own touch on it, especially like with the Covenant and stuff like that, because the Flood, they could easily be sort of interpreted as the aliens, and then the Marines are, you know, like what the military and stuff. So it's like a lot of parallels, but it still has its own little touches where it's like it makes the story a little bit unique. And also, like, one of the funny things is that Tony was surprised that Master Chief could talk in the game.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit! Like, even I forgot about that. I'm like, oh, I forgot the Master Chief talks, but like, oh,
you didn't know he talked.
Yeah, he was Space RoboCop, man.
I didn't know he talks, but I just like when Tony mentioned it, I'm like, oh, I didn't really think about that, but like, yeah, he does talk.
It's funny that you said the Starship Troopers because the first time I was like, oh, this is Space RoboCop. That's what the first thing I thought, because he was a former soldier, a great soldier, got hurt. They fixed him up. They made him 9 feet tall. and some people recognize.
Well,
him.
I'm not really talking about Starship Troopers, the movie. I'm talking about the book, by Robert Heinlein. Like that's what it really reminded me of. Like he was the guy who created the whole Space Marine stuff, mechs, and all this other stuff. So that was cool. But yeah, I didn't realize. I always assumed that Master Chief was a mute. I'm like, when he turned talking, I'm like, what the fuck? He's talking.
Yep.
That was kind of interesting.
Me and Chris always say, "I need a weapon." That's Master Chief's line.
Yeah, and of
It
course,
was very calm.
Yeah, but of course, that came from the era where, like, the heroes talk like this. Like they were chain smokers and shit. I saw Brett dip in and out. And then for me, this was interesting. Back in the day, I couldn't wrap my head around the fact that you have to control the character with 2 analog sticks. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, no. Like, what the hell's all that noise? Damn, I'm trying to talk over here and shit. Manny, that's you, by the way.
Oh, it's me. I didn't think of.
Hey, there you are. So yeah, basically, because back in the day, you would control the camera literally by pressing L1 and R2 to swing the camera around. There was no analogs. Even when games had analog stick cameras, you still didn't have to control them like that. So trying to use like the right analog stick was too weird. I remember, Carlos, was that level that we played? I was like, oh yeah, this was a level I played. You remember? You know which one I'm talking about?
Oh, it was It was before the 343 Spark mission.
Yeah.
It was a really repetitive one. It's not the library. It's I forgot the name.
Anyway, so
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Level 6, but yeah, or level 5 or level 6, one of them. But I was like, okay, this is the shit I played before because when I did play a little bit with my friend Evil Chris, he wanted me to help him with that part, but we were playing on extreme. I was getting killed, but I couldn't figure out the controls. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I have to like move the character with 2 analog sticks? This makes no fucking sense. And I swore off those type of games for almost a decade until like last gen kind of forced me to do that, right? So it's funny now when I go back to Halo, it's too simple for me. I'm like, because I'm like, okay, how do I run? How do I aim down sights? How do I fucking like, climb up walls? I'm like, no, you don't do any of that. I'm like, wow, this is interesting how a game that was too tough for me to play is now simple because I've played like games with more mechanics on top of them, But like you said, it holds up remarkably well, like for a 2001 game, it holds up really, really well. It's a lot of fun to play, So I'm glad I got to, you go ahead.
And also, if you guys want, talking to the fans, maybe we'll do a Halo 2. You never know.
Yeah, it might be sooner rather than later, to be honest. Now we have that nice little window where nothing's really coming out.
And all the stuff that's coming out is underwhelming,
we're going to get to that later on, Actually, fuck it, let's do it right now, because we did this on Monday and Tuesday. You want to try it again next week?
Let's do it.
Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go.
We got to finish this fight, man.
Yeah, we do.
I'll pop in.
Exactly.
Nice.
All right. And by the way, the vamping was perfect because it gave Brett enough time to join in. How are you doing, Brett?
What's up, everybody?
Awesome. All right, now we can get started with the show. Busy show tonight. A lot of shit happened, man. Okay, even though this is our main story, I want to skip that. I want to jump into NPDs, man. Very interesting. And I'm going to say, not to be an asshole, 2 of the guys on his podcast need to eat some crow. Oh, man. The number 1 game of January was Kingdom Hearts 3, people. Even though VentureBeat wrote it as Kingdom Hearts 2. Okay. Chris, didn't you say this game was going to bomb, bro?
Yeah, I did say that was my tinfoil hat crazy thing. Well, there it goes. I was totally wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't expect it to do as well as it did, but I mean, I think I said it before the previous week. It was like, maybe it is that those HD remasters that's really done it, or just got a whole new batch of fans.
Yeah, but Chris, don't worry about it, man. You get your mom to make that crow, son. That shit's gonna be proper, But yeah, I was not surprised because again, I saw so much craziness going on Twitter, and some of the people on Ping were like, yeah, "This game's gonna, be up there." But not surprising, Resident Evil 2, a number 2 game, But think about it like this: Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out. It was out 3 days in January. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was about 3 days that it was out, and it beat everything. So that's pretty interesting. Granted, I don't think there was a lot going on in January except for Kingdom Hearts 3 and Resident Evil 2.
VentureBeat needs to fix this article. This has the best-selling games of January 2018.
Yeah.
It's 2019.
Yeah, and Kingdom Hearts 2, because I'm looking at the date is correct, February 20th, 2019. Yeah, they really do need to change that.
Venture Beat needs an editor.
Yeah, right. It's like, okay, think about this. When you look at this article, it goes best-selling games of January 2018, yet you write Resident Evil 2 2019. Which is it, guys? But yeah, before, I didn't even check what was the top-selling system. I'm going to assume it was the Switch. Anyway, let's get to the rundown here.
From what I saw, it was a Switch.
Yeah, it was a Switch, yeah. Kingdom Hearts 3, number 1. Resident Evil 2, number 2. New Super Mario Brothers Wii U Deluxe, number 3. Call of Duty Black Ops 4, Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, number 5. Red Dead Redemption 2, number 6. That slipped, boy.
I wonder if GTA 5 will be ahead of it next month.
Yeah, right. Oh shit! Yeah, GTA 5 is still in the top 10, by the way. Ace Combat 7, motherfuckers like Ace. It's appropriate. Ace Combat 7 comes in at number 7. You know, NBA 2K19 number 8, Mario Kart 8 number 9. That should have been number 8, man. Come on, that symmetry.
I told
right
you
there.
what I tell you about the basketball games. They're always up there.
Yeah, GTA 5, you already know, number 10. Madden NFL number 11. Tales of Vesperia, I'm shocked to see that, number 12. Legend of Zelda, you already know, number 13. Battlefield 5, I'm surprised that's still there.
It must have been on sale. EA did a big sale recently.
Oh, yeah. Mario Party, number 15. Minecraft, number 16. Assassin's Creed Odyssey still holding in there, man, 17. Spider-Man's, number 18. FIFA 19, Adam, your favorite game, the butter game, number 19. And Super Mario Odyssey, number 20. Very interesting month. I'm not surprised by any of this shit. Kingdom Hearts 3, that was going to win. I saw some of the numbers, by the way, because I don't know, because this doesn't list the numbers, but from what I saw, like Xbox, like it was down 47% from last year. That's brutal. Think about it like that. Like Switch was up, and you guys in the chat correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just kind of paraphrasing here. Switch sales were up about 28% from last year. PS4 sales were down 4%. Xbox sales were down 47%. What do you think about that? You know?
Yeah, I just don't know what would give it momentum to sell. Like Nintendo has all these games, like Smash. It's still riding the Smash Brothers wave. It's still riding the new Super Mario Bros. Wave, and but I don't know what Xbox has to carry it. Like Crackdown barely came out, and that's about it. Like I don't know anything else that's kind of pimping out the system to sell, like to bring up the attention. So I don't know. They have marketing deals with Anthem and stuff like that. So we'll see if that helps also, but I don't know. It's pretty bad. 40 something percent down from last year.
47%. That's insane.
Huge drop off.
You know?
Yeah.
And think about it. In PS4, just had a 4% drop off, and now it's just like this should have been bigger. It should have been in double digits, but it wasn't. Yeah,
that's how you know. Like PlayStation also didn't have anything that I can think of that could sell the system the latest couple of months. But I mean, it's fucking PlayStation. That shit sells in itself because of the freaking name. But yeah, man, 47% is too much, man. They need to step their game up. But I mean, this generation is almost over anyway. So,
by the way, I'm looking at the individual consoles. This is interesting. So check this out. Resident Evil 2 sold better on Xbox. That was the number one selling game. But Kingdom Hearts 3 was the number one selling game on PlayStation. And they switched places on Xbox and PlayStation. Resident Evil 2 and Kingdom Hearts 3. Very interesting there. But Call of Duty, the rest of the list looks exactly the same, though. Red Dead Redemption is number 4 on both of them. Number 5 is Ace Combat on both of them. Sea of Thieves is number 6 on Xbox. I guess they got a resurgence of life there. Oh, by the way, somebody in the chat said that Spider-Man got a permanent price reduction. Yes, but within the last week. So that doesn't count for these NPDs specifically. And also the top selling games of the last 12 months, which we could say for the year. Red Dead Redemption 2, number 1. Call of Duty, number 2. NBA 2K, number 3. Smash Brothers, number 4. Madden, number 5. Spider-Man, number 6. Far Cry 5, number 7. God of War, number 8. Assassin's Creed Odyssey, number 9. And number 10, Mario Kart 8. Very interesting. Let me see. Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, I think that's pretty much that. So let's get to the main story. This shocked everybody. Reggie Fils-Aime is retiring from Nintendo. People, I don't think anybody saw that one
Is he
coming.
now? Well, is he retiring from Nintendo or just retiring? Because it
No,
sounded like he's just retiring to spend time with his
I
family.
think I mean, he's retiring from Nintendo technically, but yeah, I think he's retiring. Period.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think he's calling it a
well,
career.
he
And
might not. He might not be. He might not be retiring from the industry, just from Nintendo. And I'll tell you why I think that.
Yeah. What are your thoughts? Because you worked under Reggie and all that. So and
Right.
you met the man and all that. So what are your thoughts on this?
So there's I guarantee right now there's a shakeup at Nintendo happening, coming down from Japan and echoing through the branch offices Europe and here effectively. So a major change happened in 2016. So Nintendo made an announcement. They did a similar thing that Capcom did, where they brought in an outside advisory board. Is basically you bring out industry experts from outside your company when you don't trust that the board and executives inside the company are working in the best interest of the company. It's like basically
like
bringing,
Office Space.
uh,
Remember
yeah, you
when the
bring,
outside comes to
yeah,
reanalyze all the
exactly.
employees? And,
So the problem with that is that the executives outside of the main like the main office, like Reggie and the president of Europe, I forgot his name. Uh, they get kind of demoted, and the demotion involved that every year from that point on, after 2016, I think it was mid 2016, Reggie and his counterpart in Europe and maybe others get evaluated every year by the board, and the board can vote to revoke their contract, basically firing them. Right? That usually doesn't happen. Usually, CEOs keep their job unless, um, in a bad financial year, the board votes to terminate their employment. Right? But they don't have a contract. It's just ongoing. So his thing went from a long term to an annual review, but basically his job was on the line every year since they made that
man, he's
change.
been there 15 years, man.
Right? Yeah, he's been there since 2003. So imagine, so since 2016, he has been evaluated every year. And another thing that companies do is when they feel like, and we said this multiple times in the show that they were shaking things up at Nintendo. We've wanted this to happen, and now it is happening. But the problem is that certain people who they don't have a reason to get rid of them, they start marginalizing their positions. In Japan, it's called giving them the window seat,
Yeah,
where
the window
you know,
seat. Mm-hmm.
and then they'll leave organically, like
Because it seemed like a demotion. I remember in college they did
Like
a report
Gunpei.
on there. Yeah,
yeah, like
so
Gunpei,
once you get
he
the
left.
window seat, you might as well quit. Because
Yeah, so proverbially in America too, they didn't have a reason to fire Reggie. He still wasn't facing Nintendo. The backlash might have been severe from fans if he was terminated. Like there was no reason to do that. So my theory is they just marginalized his position. They did this annual thing. He became an executive officer instead of having the usual title of CEO and whatever. His term limits changed to 1 year, where every year he basically gets his to keep his job, and that's not a good condition to work under. And if he was truly marginalized, you see him less and less in the directs. You see him less and less making public appearances. He'll give interviews, but he'll give very standard answers, not like he
Yeah.
used to. Most of the E3 he doesn't speak. He's just there and he gives a couple interviews, but he's not doing the streams. He's not on a majority of that stuff. He's not the messaging of Nintendo. The messaging of
Yeah.
Nintendo now is almost exclusively coming from Japan. So he has been given the American version that window seat, and maybe he was like, you know what, I'm
damn,
really not doing anything here. I'm being pushed down, so I'm just gonna walk away while the getting's good, and that's probably why he decided to retire. So you know, I feel bad if that's the case. Like reading, I went back to the financial records from 2016, and they did make that statement. So I know I'm right about that. There was an article in Nintendo Life from June of that year of 2016, talking about that shakeup, and So it's been festering since then. If if you look at it that way, that maybe he has felt that it's not worth keeping that contract going because every year his job is on the line, and they're trying, and maybe they were pushing him out, so he just decided to leave on good terms.
Yeah, since I haven't seen anybody take that angle up. In all these reports, which is interesting. They're all glowing and all this other shit.
Right? Yeah, but it's like I've watched. Right, I read this stuff earlier. So when you told me about this, I did my research and whatever. Got my financial notes. I'm like, okay, I see what's happening here. And everybody else was romanticizing this shit like, oh, Reggie has more than enough money and he wants to spend time with his family and he
Well, he
wants
did
to
a
go.
video. He did a video talking about that.
Yeah, but I mean, he has to say that. He can't
Yeah.
say like, I'm unhappy here.
No, we get it. But I
You
mean,
know?
it's one thing to say retirement is like, oh, I'm gonna step away for a while and just relax. If he pops up somewhere else, then we'll know for sure.
Right. He could very well. I mean, he's only 57, right? There's no
Yeah,
real reason.
young.
It's not. Yeah, it's not age that's forcing him out, right? There's another reason, and very often that's an excuse. You hear CEOs all the time. Oh, I want to spend time with my family. Spend time with my family. Either they've been embezzling money or doing something. I'm not saying Reggie's doing any of that. He hasn't done anything wrong. Other guys, they do that and they say, "Oh, I want to spend time with my family." Leave the company, hide for a year, and then pop back up. He may just take a break,
Maybe they just
enjoy.
don't like their family that much.
But this seems to me not an organic retirement. I don't think he was tired of the business. He certainly is not old enough to be like, I'm stepping away from it. When other guys like let's take Bobby Kotick, for example, he's been in Activision forever. He'll never leave. He just keeps making more and more money. He will die in that fucking position if he doesn't get voted out, right?
Dude,
So
This,
look
this,
most
look at look at Kimishima. This motherfucker's like 50 million years old. He's still there. you
Right,
know?
yeah. So these guys they stay for the long term, and I'm sure they've been keeping happy with salary and bonus, whatever. But this move, this demotion to executive officer, this advisory board that reviews him every year and basically can terminate him after every year if they're not performing well. That's too much of a noose around your neck, you know.
Yeah,
You know,
makes total sense.
Can I ask a question?
sure.
Excuse me?
Why is it?
So like for me, Reggie has always been like sort of a puppet of what Nintendo like. I guess I mean for me it's like when Nintendo like Japan wants him to say like there's nothing about him that looks organic. It's always calculated and it's always so it seems like regurgitated talking points that he always mentions. So like I don't understand like how his like maybe I just don't understand, but like how his performance is considered bad if the company is thriving. Like
Well,
how,
it's not that his performance is bad. It's that he at any point in time the advisory board could go, okay, America's underperforming where we set these metrics and they're not doing well. Reggie's the first to get cut because of it, right? So it is always in danger of that after 2016. And he wasn't always like that. When he came in 2003, he's the guy who went on stage and said, "I'm here to kick ass and take names and make games and stuff." Like nobody had ever said anything like that at E3. No, I mean he became a caricature of a CEO, became his own
Where,
character, right?
where
He's
did
like a
they
wrestler.
find him? Yeah, where did they find him? Because this big, massive man shows up and he like hovers over everyone, even the
Wasn't he like
interviews.
working for Burger King or something?
No,
Like,
he used to be a VP of marketing at Guinness, and before that he was at Pizza Hut, I
okay,
think.
Pizza Hut. That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know his history past that point, but I mean he came in very ambitious and whatever. He didn't used to regurgitate talking points; he just used to do his own thing. After a while, though, that started to change, and then he was just slowly he's been marginalized, and you could see that looking at how
I know.
much impact he had in the directs, how much stuff he was doing versus in the last few years.
well,
Yeah,
Maybe
that's
he'll
what
I
write a
noticed
book.
something. I noticed something was up already, but he was not showing up on a lot of different things. It seemed like even then that's something they were going to probably get rid of a lot of the old guard.
And let me tell you, I can see it's not like they're probably having shakeups across the board around the whole global company, not just in the U.S. and Europe, all over. So you might see more guys retire. You know, I mean, I'm pretty sure Miyamoto has also gotten a window seat. That's my theory. So if you see him retire anytime soon, you know that, yeah, he's been marginalized, and he's like, it's a good time to walk away. I've been doing this long enough, whatever. You might see Reggie pop back up somewhere else. Who knows? But right now, I think he was given the U.S. Windows seat. He was marginalized. He was pushed out.
He's gonna run in 2020, man.
Right.
Imagine he ends up at Sony or something.
That would be that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. I could see him leaving and writing a book, behind a controller at Nintendo or something,
So here's my question. Another one. And maybe this is just part of my ignorance, but why are people so sad about this?
I was sad. I was really sad when I heard it.
To me, he's just like, and like Chris mentioned. I mean, Chris mentioned that he used to be sort of more like himself, or like more of a person back in the day. But like, to me, like, he was just a guy that read from a teleprompter. Like, he didn't really he to me, he never inspired me about anything about Nintendo. Like,
yeah, for me, he was the face of Nintendo. Like, that was the thing. I know him as the face. I saw him. I knew it didn't matter what he said. I never got pissed at him. I never felt like he was lying to me. He would overhype, but that's his job. And I don't know, something about him. It's just,
well, like, I'm not saying that he's a bad person. Like, you should hate him. I'm just saying, why do people, like, it seems like there's a eulogy going on in fucking Twitter right now.
Because he's been there so long. It's no different at your job. If you spend 15 years at your job and you go to leave, people feel sad.
Nah, but like, I'm saying, like I'm not. Are you gonna like cry about it? Like,
I did a little bit, but that's my own personal shit. So you know what? Stop judging. You are such a judge of shit. Can we move on? Can somebody else talk? Yo, Brett, what do you think about this?
About what
yeah, this motherfucker's taking over the podcast? What is this shit? No, Carlos, you finishing your point, man. Keep asking your question.
That's a sad.
No. It's a valid question. Why are people going this, like, getting all sad about Reggie? He was just a figurehead, a cold one at that. When
Iwata passed, that shit was something that was super sad. That shit's something that people should have praised him, like, because he meant so much for the company. But
what?
Like, this is just displacement. This is the uninitiated and the unknowing. I mean, there are some people who really care, but for the most fact, people just know Reggie as the face of Nintendo, and so they associate their warm fuzzies with Nintendo to Reggie, and he's retiring, and so they're like, oh, this makes me so sad, when you don't actually really know what he did for you. I mean, it's the same way most people, like, a good chunk of people who love Stan Lee didn't realize that he hasn't been doing anything for years.
Yeah, but I mean, Stan Lee created Marvel. Like, he's the reason why Marvel exists and why we have all that stuff.
No, he did not create Marvel.
Marvel as we know it today. Yeah. Let's leave it at that.
But Reggie was, and that's the thing. Reggie was the face of Nintendo, and that's really all it has to be.
He didn't do anything that, like, of consequence that impacted us, our lives. Like,
he made me happy. Isn't that enough? Like, I don't get it, Carlos. Well, I just we're always gonna think our generation, and then if there's another person, that person lasts 15-20 years, that'll be the next generation of people. Be like, yeah, I'm gonna miss when that person leaves.
I didn't see you throw eulogy for Cliffy B.
He wasn't there for 15 years.
Yes, he was.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he was.
Oh, he was
for Gears. Gears is not.
Oh, no. Years before that, he was there.
Yeah, we're talking about Gears. I'm talking about Gears. That's my connection. If he was all about Gears, then it's different. He wasn't. He just put his little 2 cents in it when they were doing the Unreal and said, hey, let's make this. And he split off, and then that was it. He took his money and bounced.
He was an Epic way before Gears.
But we didn't care about Epic. I didn't care about it. I wasn't that big into Unreal. I didn't care. Nintendo's been a part of my life since day one of their first NES console.
Right, but I think because he was such a personality in terms of CEOs. Remember, before him, like, every E3 was stuffy. They were mostly business meetings. The presentation, go back, besides the dancing girls and booth babes and whatever, like, all those presentations were boring, right? They put up numbers and charts and shit. And then he comes in, he shakes the whole thing up, and everybody remembers that. So and he went by his first name. He it wasn't like, oh, Mr. Spitzer,
And
Mr.
he
this,
didn't let
whatever.
people bully him in interviews. I remember that. He would stand his ground.
Yeah,
And they would have tough questions. He didn't give a shit. He would stand back. When I remember, what was it? There was once I was watching, I think it was the Attack of the Show or something. It was one of those old days once. And they were like, why is Mario in everything? Why do you have? He said, what? What do you mean, why not? The guy, he's an icon. He's this and that. He went off on it. He got pissed. He was like, how dare you say that?
I mean, look at who was the fake president of Sony? That guy in the commercials, like Kevin something.
Kevin Butler.
Kevin Butler,
Butler,
right?
yeah,
People
yeah.
loved Kevin Butler because he was a character, right?
Well, I
I
like Kevin Butler.
didn't understand that one either. I'm like, why are people like so hyped? When he showed up to E3, I'm like, yo, all these guys are tools, man.
Whoa.
Dude, those commercials were fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Kevin Butler was
man.
the fucking man.
So he was such a personality, and when they brought him out, like he stole that whole E3 for Sony, right? Like he was the best part of it, but it's because people are magnetized to personalities, and so he is an actor, but he did that well. Reggie was actually the CEO, and he was able to do almost the same thing. That's why people remember him. I mean, people, do you know who was his predecessor at Nintendo of America? It was Mr. Arakawa. He went to form he went to take over the Tetris company, but nobody cried about it. Nobody knew because he was a very quiet man. He was Japanese. He just did his job. He took care of the company, and he didn't make any waves, right? So nobody like knew he even left. When Reggie shows up, like he just exploded in the room and started popping off fucking blowing a vuvuzela and popping off poppers everywhere. He lit up fireworks, and that's what people remember. That's why they're sad he's leaving, because that personality would be gone. And this guy Doug Bowser, I know nothing about him, except he came from EA, which I don't know.
Why would they do that? Why
You take
grab anybody from EA?
right, so you take that for what it's worth. He has some giant shoes to fill, right?
They hired him because his name is Bowser.
There you go. It's connected.
Yeah, that's the running joke. But they needed what they really needed was a VP of sales and marketing who was from inside the industry. They had hired before outside, like Cammie Dunaway and Scott Moffat were both outside the industry, and they brought them in, and they didn't work out very well. They didn't last long.
Yeah.
So they needed someone inside the industry. So they got this guy, very appropriately named, but he is no Reggie, right? So we'll see how he fares in that role.
Yeah, I think he may be more of a Arakawa type, in the background doing his job, not really getting out there like that. That's what I predict at least. And it's funny, Adam, because you were talking about how like you associate Nintendo with good times and all that since you've been there. But when you were coming up with Nintendo, it was Arakawa in charge. Like Arakawa was there way longer than Reggie.
Yeah, but I didn't see any of that stuff because I was younger. Yeah. As I got older, though, then it was Reggie, and when I paid more attention to it, it was Reggie.
Back in the day, a lot of that stuff, a lot of Nintendo and Genesis, they really didn't have like executives that were out in the forefront. It was just when you heard Nintendo, you just heard Nintendo. You didn't associate it with any sort of specific people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and it's just him. I just remember him. He had a presence. He definitely.
I'm just asking just for the sake of asking because he was around. Arakawa was around a lot longer, and he actually impacted the games you played back in the day.
Yeah, but I was younger. I know Reggie because we knew the running joke was he was a Reginator. Remember? And so I mean, who else has that? Who else?
I'm probably just looking at it really cynically, but yeah,
you are.
No, I think Carlos, this is a good point, man. It's a good point.
It's a different time. That's what it comes down to.
Well, look at which other executives in the industry, pick anyone, has even one meme like Reggie does. I mean, there's My Body Is Ready, the Reginator, all this stuff.
Oh no, the memes are funny, like My Body's Reggie and all.
Right, but that's because of his personality. He's a character.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with like actual game.
Yeah, but I think
but
Carlos, you need to understand, like he became. It's a whole cult of personality thing. He had that. Like even if you don't personally think he did anything like for the company, you have to understand that this guy did become a larger in life character.
Oh no, yeah, and that's why I asked the question. But I'm just talking about my
All right, here it is, Carlos. What about if, let's say, Larry Herb, Major Nelson leaves? Would you feel sad? Would you be like, wow, that's
I mean,
Like
if
an end of an
I
era.
mean, it depends on how it ends. But if
Same shit like this, just like this.
No, I won't feel sad. I'm not gonna cry.
Yeah,
And I'm actually a bigger fan of Major Nelson because I was a fan of his podcast for a long time.
Yeah, I remember when he was doing his podcast without even Microsoft vouching for it. It was just his own personal side project.
But for me, it's like Reggie, like he was always like, yeah, like he's synonymous with Nintendo. But for me, like Nintendo was always, it came before, during, and after Reggie. So to me, it's like Nintendo was never about Reggie. It was always about Mario. It was always about, even like Miyamoto was probably the only person that I would think of like in concerning Nintendo. But to me, it's always about the games. It's like I played Mario since the day I was born, and I'm gonna keep playing Mario. And Reggie came in and through and retired, and nothing's gonna really change. So to me, it doesn't really impact me in that emotional way. If somehow they say, oh, like we're gonna stop making Mario games, then I'll get sad.
Well, I don't think Doug Bowser has that kind of influence to say what can and won't be made. You know.
Oh no, I'm not saying that.
Reggie didn't either. You know.
Yeah, Reggie didn't either.
Yeah.
Like it's. Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, all these guys are all beholden to the Japanese side, you know. But yeah, no, I don't see Bowser, you know, despite his awesome, perfect name, being out there like Reggie. You know, he's just going to be in the background doing his thing.
Maybe he'll live up to Bowser and just be the villain, and we'll just all hate him.
He'll be the heel, you know.
Like the tweets that I see that I understand are like Jeff Keighley and stuff like that. People who actually worked with him and did events and stuff, and you know, like got to know him. But there's like people that don't know anything about what he did, other than the fact that he did, you know, E3 press conferences. He talked for Nintendo and stuff, but nobody know exactly what he did other than the figurehead that he was.
I mean,
yeah, but that's enough. That's enough for people.
Yeah, I mean,
you know?
you could argue that with actors when people like, oh my god, he died. Who gives a shit? He was faking it. You don't really know him. He was just doing movie roles. Why do you care?
No, Reggie's job was to not be Japanese.
There you go.
But no one died here.
I'm pretty sure that's all it was. Like there's kind of a disconnect, and you know, there's an accent. They didn't want to have translators, so they're like, let's just get a gregarious American to talk to our North American audience. That's what
I mean, I definitely think he gave I gave a company that usually didn't have that much of a face, and he came in with a lot of personality, and you know, in other words, gave it something other than just showing, just releasing games. You know, I think a lot of times, when it comes to marketing and stuff like that, it's always good to have like a point man, a person that people can kind of somewhat relate to. And I think that's part of one of the roles that he served over there.
Hey, Manny, you're walking right now, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what because there's a constant like click, 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 which is interesting. No, but you're right about that. People gravitate towards Reggie because of his personality, and I understand it. Like, to me, he was just, a figurehead, kind of a tool. I wouldn't want to have a beer with him, but I understand, why people are acting the way they are. To them, they were kids when Reggie first came out.
You wouldn't want to, like, pick his brain?
No, I would want to pick his brain, but he doesn't seem
that
like
would be the beer.
No, but
I mean,
he doesn't seem like the kind of person that, you know what I'm saying? Like, he would even be down for that. He just seems so like removed from even being a human. At least just my assessment. Like everything just seems so fake and contrived. Even Chris said that. Like even in privately, he talks like that. So yeah, I don't know, man. I got nothing.
That's the Reggie I know.
He talks very much. In general, he is very marketing-ish. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like he doesn't feel like even. I don't know. I've never met him personally, but. He never really felt like he's putting on a show.
Yeah.
There you go.
He didn't feel genuine, Well,
he can't slip. If he slips, that'll come out and somebody will say something.
No, but for example, like,
keep the mask on until you leave the company.
No, but for example, me and Manny, we've talked to, Major Nelson. That guy's real. You know?
Yeah, Major Nelson is actually really, really cool.
I would want to have a beer with Phil Spencer.
Oh yeah, that would be interesting.
That dude seems like a genuine cool guy.
Yeah,
he doesn't seem like someone that's talking out of a teleprompter.
But he's not the marketing guy.
Major Nelson, like did like Adam said, he did a bunch of stuff on his own. Like back in the old days of Xbox, I mean, like he'd say something like, "Hey, I'm at this bar. Come and hang out," right?
He would just talk about games, and he'd talk about shows and events that he was at and what's going on, and go ahead, send me an email and we'll talk about it. And he was doing everything from home.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, you have that type of personality versus somebody like Reggie, who's just
a different role.
It's
not marketing.
I understand that. But we're talking about personalities here. And that's why I find it kind of interesting how like Reggie became that bigger than life kind of personality when he was kind of cold and distant. At least from my assessment. But I don't know, but this is the other point I want to bring up and we talked about this a couple weeks ago, how Nintendo has slowly but surely been rolling out the old guard, which is something we've been saying they need to do for years, and it seems like another step towards that, and it seems the more of those old guys they get rid of, the more successful the company is. This is I think we said this last week. Like, this is the biggest Nintendo has been since the SNES days. In terms of popularity and money and all that shit. Maybe the Wii made more money, but you know what I mean. Like, in terms of being popular for everybody, like, this is like as high profile as Nintendo has been in a long time. And I think it's because of the fact that they're getting rid of those little guys. You think Miyamoto's doing anything? He ain't doing shit. He's at a Windows seat too, and that's a good thing because he was holding them back as far as I'm concerned, But so I think Reggie stepping out is probably like gonna help Nintendo, as weird as that sounds. But I say to you, Carlos, like, let these people on Twitter have their, their mourning or whatever. It don't affect you either way.
I'm not saying not to. I just said I don't understand it.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. Any last thoughts on the Reginator?
Yeah, I agree with Chris. I think he'll be back.
He'll be back.
That dude is way
the Terminator. He'll be back. I'll be back.
And when he comes back, he could easily say it. He was like, "Terminator's back."
Like I said, all the talk online is very idealized. Oh, he's going to enjoy his life. He's going to do this. Like, he's only 57. Like, CEOs just don't get up and leave for no reason. Like,
maybe he becomes a venture capitalist, and just invests in different things.
But he would still be doing something, right? He's not retired. He's not sitting on a beach like everybody thinks. He's just going to sit by an island and sit somewhere and like sip coconuts and dream about video games. And that's not what happened. And I really think what happened is like they marginalized him and they pushed him out, and that's not a good position for a CEO to be in. So he decided it was time to leave.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All that money he's making, there's no way he's just one day gonna stop and be happy with not making that much money.
Yeah. Also, the whole, obviously, I don't know his family situation, but it's kind of interesting. He's like, he wants to be with his family. I'm like, how old are your kids? Aren't they like in college by now, bro? Like,
depends on when he had them.
Yeah, I guess maybe he had them mad late. I guess that's also possible.
Yeah, it's all about work,
Well, he didn't even. The weird thing is, in his message, he said, I'm leaving so I can spend more time with my wife and family, but he never really said kids.
Yeah, maybe that is true. It could be health issues. There's all kinds of factors.
Yeah, you never know. You never know, but
that's true.
We'll see.
All right, man. Let's move on here. Speaking about executives, or in general, we got to talk about Mike Ybarra, man. He was causing some waves on Twitter this week. So basically, he came out and slammed a particular reviewer, but I think he was talking about generally that was talking about Anthem. And just to clear the air, Anthem has an exclusivity deal with Xbox, so maybe that spurred some of this. So basically, I'm getting this from Games Radar. PC Gamer put out a story about how one of the quote unquote worst sections of the game was, being fixed or whatever. It was like supposedly a really grindy section of the game or whatever. So Mike Ybarra, this is what he said about that. He goes, "This was actually very easy to do. Amazed at the whining. One reviewer, not the one below, reviewed the game, yet in the review cited that he didn't even know how to do a combo. Embarrassing to review with such a lack of knowledge." he followed that up with, I don't do quote unquote reviews because everyone enjoys different things. I suggest modern reviewers should be watching watching streamers play a game, doing the demo, listening to what your gaming friends think, and if it seems like something you will enjoy, then great. He caught a lot of backlash, mostly from other journalists. You know,
it was the guys at
he
Giant
did.
Bomb that said that.
Yeah,
they said that they didn't know how to do the combos. It was like, why don't you just show all this?
Okay,
stuff?
so he was referring to
people that
Giant
play
Bomb
it.
then. Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, because he didn't name who he was talking about, but
Of
so
course
Giant
not, because
Bomb,
he
yeah.
knows. He knows
Yeah.
that would cause backlash.
You know, so obviously, you know, a lot of gaming journalists didn't like that. One guy here, Rami Ismail, he goes, "Oh, come on, really? If something critical in a game is unclear to a person that plays as many games as a reviewer, remember that onboarding and tutorializing is our job. This is a bad take and a bad look, seriously." Another guy, Ryan Brown, he goes, "This is a terrible, uninformative take and needlessly aggressive. Video games journalists do not make much." That's a bunch of horseshit. Do not make much money. They're doing their jobs because they love it. Blah blah blah. And you know, some fans didn't like it. Obviously, the Sony fanboys got at him too. You know. So yeah, I want to talk about this, but I want to kind of break it down from both angles because even though I think Mike Ybarra came off as kind of petty here, and he did kind of backpedal his comments, there's still something to be said about gaming journalists. I don't know how to play fucking games. We saw that last year with Cuphead.
Yeah, but it's the way, because I read it and I heard the way they described it. It's got to be them, because that was recently, and I think I remember I sent it to a chat. Anyway, it wasn't so much of not knowing how to play it, is that it didn't explain it. You can figure it out and do it. It's just do you have to just figure it out and do it, and how do you know if you're doing it correctly? It was one of those situations. It's like, all right, is there just a button? You don't need to show it. Can I go to options, like in a fighting game, you know, where you go to options and you see move sets? Can I find it? No, it's not even there either. All right, so then how do I know? Where do I don't have a manual. Just put it in the manual or something like that. That's it.
How do you know that? I mean, I've never played the game yet before, but most games have additional tutorials inside of it.
Yeah, or something like that. Exactly. There was nothing that wasn't there.
Yeah. To be fair, though, most online demos do not have tutorials either. They just throw you in.
Oh, I mean, usually there's like a, like sometimes some games have like a hub, like just like Anthem has a hub, and there's a section that you can go to and find out things that you can do in the game, or the load time.
Yeah, but remember the controls are different in the hub than they are in the main game.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, because in the hub you're in first person and you move very, very slow. You know, and a bunch of reviewers actually said that the game doesn't do a good job of telling you how to play it, apparently. You know, By the way, for you guys who are interested, Xbox or EA, insiders or whatever the fuck it is, EA Access. They've been able to play the game for 10 hours now, so that's why a lot of this stuff is, coming out there. So yeah, Brian, I want you to jump in on this because you had some thoughts on, Ybarra and, the reaction and all that.
I just bounce off the idea of the whole combo thing that he talked about. Like, when you do a combo, like in the game, like massive letters like pop up on the screen saying combo. So it's quite clear like what happens. And usually when you do a combo, things just die really damn fast. So I think that the combo system was left out on purpose, just so that people can discover what makes a combo happen. Like, yes, it wasn't explained well, but then we live in an age where everything in every single video game is just explained, and it just gets to a point where you just feel like it's patronizing. So I totally agree that there's something that the game just won't tell you. I think that's fine. I get really bored when games just like, hey, here's how you do this, here's how you do that, here's how you do this. It's like, no, just let me play the game and let me figure it out. I'm not an idiot. Like I like to figure things out. I get the rush when I like, oh, okay, so now I know how this works. I now know how that works. Like, you don't get Free Fire games that tell you like, hey, this is how you do like Ryu's best combo, and here's how you like cancel out the moves. Like, no, you figure that stuff out. Like you try, you experiment, you figure stuff out. So hence him being annoyed at people not understanding how a combo works. I think that's fair, and I was like, okay, cool. Like, he doesn't know how to do a combo. It's not really that hard. Like, if you experiment a little bit and don't expect the game to give you everything, then yeah, like you should. Again, the game should let you try it out. So I understood his frustration with the reviewer people, because I'm like, hey, you should experiment. You should try things out. That's the whole point of video games sometimes.
It was just one of many things. So even just what he said is just nitpicking on that. And it's more in depth. People can look it up. It's more in depth. It wasn't just, I couldn't figure it out. It's a lot more into it. But,
Yeah, so I felt like what he said was fair. It's like, look, there are some reviewers out there that don't know how to play games. There's some reviewers out there that don't even play the game properly. We know this, and he was just, again, to me, he was saying that do not listen to these people, as their opinion is most likely just invalid. I mean, like, why would I listen to someone who watches like the first half of Avengers and then just walks out the theater? It's like, no, you didn't get the whole story. There's much more to it.
From this, they put in over 20 hours.
Yeah.
Well, there's two ways to look at it, and I think Tony mentioned them. It's like, yeah, like there are reviewers that don't know what they're doing when it comes to playing video games, but like the spirit of his reaction is the part that gets me the most. It's like, where's this coming from? Like this is a dude from, like, what is he, a vice president like of Microsoft or Xbox?
Yeah, he's vice president. Yeah,
and he's coming down on a reviewer for like to me this is some petty shit.
It's mad petty.
It's like it is. That's why he doesn't want to say it. If it was a nobody that he felt that wouldn't make any waves, he wouldn't have given a shit. But somebody that would make a difference is why he said what he said.
And I quickly, college, I just need to jump in with this because I find it interesting how he said that, reviews don't matter. Yet when Forza 4 was getting high reviews, he was retweeting all those reviews, those 9s and 10s and all that. Very interesting, isn't that?
And not only
like, wait. He never said that reviews don't matter. All he said is I don't listen to people that don't know how to play the game. Like, he even said a follow tweet saying, yeah, like, you should absolutely listen to.
Well, that's a pretty ambiguous statement there.
Yeah, it is, exactly. I took it as, hey, don't listen to these motherfuckers. This shit doesn't matter. Watch streamers instead. You
took it as don't listen to all reviewers. I took it as don't listen to people that don't know how to play games, which I think is
that's his assessment of what people like. What's his definition of people that don't know how to play the game? Is it just everyone that doesn't review it as well as they did, or the people don't know how to do that specific combo? But that's who's that?
People that don't know how to jump over a damn block in Cuphead. People like that.
You mean reviewers that know how to play games?
It's pretty interesting you mentioned that, Brian. Where was he when people were criticizing that Cuphead guy? He wasn't anywhere to be found.
Maybe this was the straw that broke the camel's back, and he just had enough of the bullshit.
Well, that's what I'm saying. This shit seems petty because
it's not really
the dude.
If it's happening like all the time with like so many different outlets that complain about shit in a game that doesn't make sense. But
why is he complaining about this game? Like, what does Anthem have to do to
you
Microsoft?
Know why? Because I have a marketing deal, bro.
I know, but where was he like when people were shitting on Sea of Thieves? Like, people were saying the game wasn't complete. The dude was mad quiet.
Well, maybe it wasn't incomplete.
Yeah, he had to have people like Brett defend the game to hell, and the dude couldn't fucking do it for himself. He's a fucking vice president.
Maybe he agreed with that assessment that the game was not complete. We didn't know that.
Maybe he did, but maybe he didn't.
It's like, again, like maybe he just had enough of all the whining from reviewers that don't seem to understand how games work, and he's like, cool. You know what? I'm gonna say give him on my 2 cents, and then just leave it at that.
Yeah, and then he had to come back and backpedal, which is hilarious.
I don't really see that as backpedaling. Like, he never really took it back. All he said was like, hey, you know what? Look at lots of different outlets. Don't just listen to like the same people that don't know how games work.
Yeah, but he's only
praised the ability of having like multiple voices out there, and said like, hey, it's great that we have multiple voices. The more, the better.
Yeah, that seems some petty shit. It's like, it's obvious that there's multiple voices saying the shit, like reviewing this game. Like, there isn't that guy who reviewed the game that he didn't like wasn't the only one reviewing the game. There's tons of them. There was early access. People were streaming this shit before the game even came out. So obviously that wasn't the only voice being heard in the whole story. And right now, this fucking game hasn't. I'm looking at the Metacritic. It hasn't gotten a single positive review. So
it's one of the issues, though. It's not all because of combo buttons and shit. It's
Well, yeah, there's other problems with the game. By the way, I just want to quickly read some of these comments from Glorious War addressed to Brian. He goes, "No, Brian. Mike Ybarra, was trying to discredit reviewers because Anthem and Crackdown 3 got poor reviews."
Did he mention anything about Crackdown 3 in that tweet?
No, he didn't. But like you said, it may be the straw that broke the camel's back.
Lumping the two together now? Like again, like his tweets had nothing to do with Crackdown. His tweets were purely based on Anthem.
Yeah, but like you said, it maybe it's the straw that broke the camel's back because Crackdown's been getting hammered too. You know?
Yeah, like maybe he agrees with the criticism. Like maybe he's like, yeah, okay, like maybe this could have been done better, or maybe this was not something that he agrees with. Hence, it's like, okay, that's a fair point. Again, you can't just assume things purely because, like, hey, you know what? We think that this is going on and that's going on. It's like, maybe it is, maybe it's not. Like, we don't know the full story. Again, this is just purely going by what he's saying. And it's like, okay, it seems like he's just frustrated with people that don't know how to play video games. And again, I too, well, as am I. Hence why I don't listen to any reviewers anymore.
Yeah. But to be fair, though, yeah, like you said, we don't exactly know what he meant, so we could only go on our assessments. Yours is obviously different than me and Carlos's, which is fine. But I took it completely differently. I took it as like, he's mad that people aren't praising the game that he has an exclusive deal with. That's how I took it. And it did come off extremely petty.
Yeah, because he hasn't done this in the past, so it's like, why would he do it for a game that they only have? He doesn't do it for one of his big exclusive games. He does it for a fucking game they just have a deal with. It's like, it just seems fucking odd to me that, like I know you're mentioning that this was a straw that broke the camel's back, but it's like, damn, you're this is the hill you're potentially dying on, man. Fucking Anthem. It just seems odd to me.
But I mean, does that make his point any less valid, though?
No, but it seems like I'm just curious to why he's doing it here.
Well, even if it's for completely selfish reasons, like he still brings up a good point.
Maybe he really likes the game. Maybe it's not just marketing. It's
just a game.
Yeah, I mean, to him, this is a fun game.
There is a middle ground too. Like I'm sure, like if as a creative, if he's sitting there, saying like, okay, so the game is having problems. Like it is not a perfect game. But then frustratingly on top of that, we're getting shit that I feel that we don't even deserve because these motherfuckers don't even know how to do basic gaming stuff. And it's frustrating when you're building a game for an audience. It's like having toddlers review movies to see if they're PG-13 or R-rated. Like to a certain extent, the reviewers do have to be indicative of the player base. I'm not going to send somebody out to test, to review bowling balls if they can't, get a decent bowling score. So it's not an absurd concept, and I'd absolutely agree. It's for most likely shitty reasons, but I imagine it's just venting of frustration because, the games are getting dogpiled. And I think the truth probably lies somewhere in the middle where, yeah, he realizes that they're getting dogpiled, and then the straw that breaks the camel's back is when people start bitching about shit that he thinks is just completely unfair. Like, there's probably some criticism there. It's like, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I can see how that wouldn't be for some people.
But that happens to a lot of games.
No,
yeah, every game.
I agree. But then you get to that point where like, okay, but then on top of all this bullshit, this motherfucker can't even do a basic combo. Like he doesn't understand the basic concept of the thing that I'm trying to do. And so that leaves me with one of two options. Either I have failed to execute that thing well, or they're not competent enough to pass over that hurdle. And honestly, if they're the people in the office, the testers, the developers, when you have 100 people who don't have a fucking problem executing these very basic things, and then somebody who's supposed to be testing video games reviewing video games for a living not being able to do that's got to be kind of frustrating.
Yeah, well, I mean,
by the way, just quickly, Mike Ybarra is not a creative. He is not. It had nothing to do with Anthem. He's just pimping it out because they have a marketing exclusive deal. He had nothing to do with development. I just had to get that out there.
Oh, okay.
And also like when he stays quiet, right? He doesn't say a fucking thing when the first party games have a lot of issues, right? He doesn't say a peep. But then he decides to talk when other games have one issue or one miss issue that people don't understand. It's like it just seems like what
I mean, it's like with everything.
It's like if you're gonna stay quiet about one thing, just stay quiet about everything.
Yeah, exactly.
No, because we're human. That's how it works. You could say that about anything. You could say, you know what? I'm never going to say anything about bad movies. I don't care about it. And then something could just break. It's like, yo, this movie's trash. I don't know why. You know what I mean? It's same shit. I'm telling you, he probably really liked the game and he read this review, saw where it was coming from. And was like, this is straight up bullshit. And just had the vent.
Yeah, again, I'm not really like dogging on him for saying somebody says don't know how to play games. We've seen too much evidence of that. That's not my issue. He just comes off as mad petty to me, And then the other thing that I kind of had a bit of a problem with, where he basically, even though he didn't say it directly, he was basically saying, maybe you should just check out streamers instead. I'm like, you want me to watch the guy that's probably paid off? Okay, that's kind of interesting.
That's why.
But you see what I'm saying? Like, he's like, go watch the guy that
they're paid off regardless. It doesn't matter who it is.
Well, think about it like this, and here's the difference, right? Because we know about instances of journalists being paid off too. The difference is when that's discovered, it's a scandal. If a streamer gets discovered, it's like, well, that's just what streamers do. It's not like there's no standard for those guys, So it's like, but again, and we've talked about this on the show before. What are streamers at the end of the day? They're hype men. Companies would rather deal with those guys than journalists because journalists will critique their shit. Whereas a streamer, he'll just be like, oh, this is the greatest game ever. So I don't really trust those guys.
And not to mention, they're totally, at least the games media is also totally dependent on these apparently companies sending them their games, rather than just going out and buying them.
Yeah. By the way, I don't think we talked about this on the show. This is a very interesting thing. Some of the streamers, influencers, whatever you want to call them, they got their copies of this game before a lot of journalists, which is interesting. But again, but it makes sense from a business standpoint. If you're EA, who are you going to send the game to? The guy who's potentially going to shit on your game, or are you going to send it to the guy that's going to hype the fuck out of your game? It makes sense.
Also, that one guy has maybe millions of subscribers.
Exactly.
So you definitely know it's going to have eyes on it.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. To me, sometimes like it's hard to take serious a guy that defends a game that didn't come from your studio, but a week before your big first party exclusive game that was hyped to all hell got shitted on continuously by almost everyone in the industry. Didn't say a fucking peep, man.
I think
that's some backbone.
I agree.
I think also if he were to say something about that, there would be a lot more backlash if he were to say it about a specific Xbox game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was a lot, and then there's actually a lot of misinformation about Crackdown 3. A lot of people didn't play the game that were criticizing it. He didn't say anything. So if he was defending, I would respect him even more.
Well, I think the thing is, I think it causes a lot more trouble if an executive is essentially trying to defend their own game, which is weird. You would think they would, but at the same time, it would cause a lot of thing like, oh, you're just saying that because you work there, stuff like that.
I agree with that.
Even this situation has that sort of shade to it, where it's like, it's like, oh, well, the only reason why you're even saying anything is because you put together a marketing deal with these guys.
Yeah. By the way, I got to read this couple of things here for the glorious word. He's throwing bits and subscriptions our way. He really wants me to read these comments. I appreciate that, brother. He goes, Ybarra plays games with Crap Gamer and the Xbox Zealots, so he is with the Xbox Media Bias Brigade. He hypes up Forza 4 reviews. And here's the comment after the subscription. He goes, Brian, keep the same energy when Sony and Nintendo executives do the same thing. LOL, you seem extra critical with other brands. Brian, respond.
I'm critical with everything. Like when Microsoft,
he's a PC gamer.
I am critical of everything.
He's got a lifetime supply of haterade. He's good.
He's also Brian's also British.
Yeah, let Brian finish, guys. Come on, go ahead, Brian.
It's not that hard. Just don't fuck up. I mean, look at some people in the world. Just don't fuck up. It's not that hard. Like when Sony fucks up, I mention stuff. When Microsoft fucks up, I mention stuff. Like the whole Crackdown thing, I was like, hey, Crackdown will sound like a fun game, not that big. Turns out it's a fun game, it's not a big deal. And I have nothing to say about it. It's like, okay, some people are mad at the destruction that's gone. I am as well, but what am I supposed to do about it? Chances are the game will either A, sell big, and hence there's a chance of it being in the next game, which we'll wait and see, or B, does not sell big, and then it's gone. So it's like, yeah, whatever. And yes, I do like to keep the same energy if companies fuck up.
Can I just mention that I'm looking at Crackdown 3 on Twitch. The game only has 132 viewers.
132?
Yeah, for I guess people just streaming the game on Twitch.
There's no zero after that. Not even two.
No.
Wow.
132.
Wow, that's sad.
It's fucking crazy,
Man.
Yeah, the stream with the most viewers on the individual stream with the most viewers for that game is 15 viewers.
Jesus. That's
wow.
Damn, son.
Yep.
Brian, he goes, you keep extra spice on certain topics. Okay.
Well, certain things matter more to me than other things. Yeah. And yes, I do point out Sony's mistakes more because, again, Sony's in the limelight. Like they are the ones in the spotlight, so hence they get the most heat. That's how things are. Like, if you're in the spotlight, you get the most heat. Like, one of the things that I can easily mention now is the fact that the fun fact, the PS Pro is running Jump Force at the same resolution as the Xbox One. Sorry, as the Xbox and the PS4 base. Whereas
Jump
the
Force?
Pro, whereas the Pro is running at native 4K.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting. So then again, I can quite easily just go and say, hey, like, how do you feel, Sony guys? Like, you bought a PS4 Pro, and yet the resolution is the same as the base.
Brian, I mean, I don't think I want to see those cutscenes in 4K, to be honest.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, it's fucking weird.
Nobody gives a fuck about that.
It's weird as fuck. It's weird as fuck. I'm not gonna lie, but at the same time, I don't care. It's like probably they didn't maximize it that well for the Pro. Fair enough, it happens.
I think I saw
Brian's like, Jump Force runs good on my PC.
Oh, Jump Force! Jump Force looks amazing at 60 frames. Like, it's really it was made to run at a high frame rate. Like, I definitely agree with that because it looks amazing. But anyway, that's a whole different story.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah. Again, I just think that what Mike Ybarra was said was like, hey, you know what? This is just him having enough of the nonsense that some people say. And in terms of streamers being paid off, but then again, game reviewers are pseudo paid off because, again, we all know that if a game reviewer does not put out a somewhat positive review of a game, they get blacklisted. So hence, in a way, it doesn't force them, but it kind of strong arms them to say, like, hey, put out a good review or else you won't get the next thing. We've heard so many.
It's not really put out a good review. It's just don't put out an overly negative review. But again, if a game reviewer, but my point is, if a game reviewer comes out and unabashedly hypes up a actually terrible game, and you find out that he was paid off, it'll be a scandal. If the same thing happens with an influencer, no one will care because that's already expected from them. That's the point I'm trying to make. But you're right. There are some people that do take payola. It's just if one group gets discovered, it'll look bad. If another group gets discovered, you're like, that's just what they do, So there's a difference there, This is why I say, and you know me, I don't read I don't read reviews. I don't watch streamers. I don't watch none of that stuff. I make my own decisions. Like if I see a game, I'm like, okay, that's interesting to me. I don't really go out there and look for shit. If I'm going to read a review, that's because I know you personally. The only reviews I do read, if I read them, are from Richard, Gary, and Max, because I know those guys, It's interesting, but I just found that comment particularly kind of interesting where he was saying, hey, no, pay attention to the guys that are going to hype up our games. It's like, all right, bro, I see where you're coming from,
Well, I mean, streamers, in one sense, is it, it's free marketing, you know what I mean?
It is.
You all you really need to do is just pop them a game or give them a special edition, and then, that's it. And then they'll be like, oh yeah. So yeah. There's a good chance that some of this whining and dining might shade their promotion, which is essentially like it's commercial. It's like a giant commercial. It's like every streamer is like a commercial for their product.
To be fair, though, when it comes to regular journalists, when they fly them out, wine them and dine them. That could potentially shade some shit too. But again,
yep.
those guys are still held, even though, let's just be honest, most gaming journalists are kind of shit. At least the big guys are. Most, I should take that back, because most of them, 80%, don't even make money. They're good, but some of these guys could be shady. But again, they're still held to a higher standard than these streamers are, And I realize the irony, because we're fucking streaming right now, But again, I've always said, don't even trust me with shit. It's like you got to make your own decisions at the end of the day, That's a whole other topic right there, Anyway, any last thoughts on this whole Mike Ybarra situation? Any of you guys? All right, that's a no. So let's move on. Actually, fuck it. Let's do the contest right now, man. Let me get this shit ready. Okay, so for you guys in the chat right now, we're going to give you a chance to win a free game of your choosing, as long as it's $60 or below. We ain't buying you no special editions, And we're going to keep it nice and simple. So here's our Discord server. So you got to be a part of our Discord. It's just simple. What's your favorite game of all time? Simple as that. We're going to, actually, Manny, you're almost home, right?
Yeah, I got about another, it's going to be a little while.
All right, we're gonna do some magic, because we're gonna announce this shit on Sunday anyway. So we're gonna take the answers right now, right, and we're gonna take the names, put them through our little machine, and come up with a name. We'll announce them on Sunday. I think that'll be good, and I'll repeat the contest again later on. But yeah, if you want a chance to win a free game of your choosing, doesn't matter, as long as it's $60 or less. What is your favorite game of all time? Say it in the chat, and you have a chance to win. I'll repeat the question again in about half an hour or so. All right.
Yo, man, they're giving away free games.
Excuse me? And that is courtesy of Spawn on Me. So we're going to give those guys a shout out, All right. So let's move on here. This is interesting. And Brett, I really want your thoughts on this one. So Bethesda has banned a player that has played Fallout 76 for 900 hours because he had too much ammo. Apparently, he exploited a glitch that was in the game, that allowed him to get a lot of ammo and all that, and they banned both of his accounts.
Cool.
You have any insight on this?
Good.
Okay.
Fucking dupers.
Damn.
Yeah,
he was fucking duping and cheating. They banned a cheater. And? I don't give a shit how many hours he played. He was fucking duping. I don't like cheaters. I don't approve of cheaters, especially in fucking online games where there's a direct value tied to these items. You're ruining the fucking game for other people, asshat.
Here's my question, and I could be wrong about this. Wasn't he using an in-game exploit? He wasn't
he was using a glitch.
A glitch, yes. Okay, it wasn't. So he wasn't hacking or anything like that.
No,
right?
but that's still cheating.
No.
Is it cheating though?
No,
I don't think it is.
Yes.
Until it's patched. He didn't put a trainer or anything.
Yeah.
Look,
that's what I'm
okay.
saying.
Well,
just because you motherfuckers are trying to rationalize the shit you did in GTA.
Whoa.
Yeah, Brett, because you and I, quote unquote, cheated in GTA 2.
No, we totally did.
You did.
We totally did, and I admit to that because fuck you, Rockstar, and your ridiculous pricing scheme.
So you should be banned too, then. Fuck, I'm reporting your ass right now.
I mean, they can ban me from GTA. I don't give a shit anymore.
Rockstar.
The thing is, obviously he knew it was an exploit, and at the same time he was taking advantage of it. Now, I wouldn't say most people, but the right thing to do would have been to report the exploit to Bethesda.
Yeah,
and he probably wouldn't have gotten banned.
Yeah, or just don't do it as much. There was a glitch that we were running into where basically if you logged out in your power armor, when you log back in, the core was full. And it's okay, well, I'm not going to go out of my way to get out of my power armor before I log off. Fuck that. But this guy was going out of his way to dupe items and accrue and hoard and stash, which is what dupers tend to do. And especially with that much ammo, you're just going to go around and just wreck other players. It's not fair to give one guy, 1,000,000 paintballs and everybody else fucking 50.
What if he made a store that sold bullets?
That would be better because it wouldn't ruin other players' experiences, but it would still also ultimately affect the overall gameplay for other people. You should be able to do that, but then you need to go out hunting for bullets. When you have 10,000 of every kind of bullet on the market, it devalues the market, which means anybody else who wants to open a store and sell bullets is going to be undermined by your ass. So there's negative, like in these types of games, it's a playground and everybody needs to play together and everybody needs to play by the rules for the most part. And look, you can glitch if you want, but you should know. And Tony, remember when with GTA, I even said like, dude, this shit could get us banned. Like you want to keep it easy on that shit because that shit could get you banned.
This is the equivalent of like you know all the answers to like a test, but you purposely get one or two wrong just so you don't get caught. That's the way I'm thinking about it, you know. But
I mean,
yeah,
here's the thing: if you're cheating, you make the choice that if you get caught, you're going to suffer consequences. If you don't start cheating with those actions in mind, then you are in fact an idiot. Like if you're like, I didn't know it was going to happen. Like, no, motherfucker, if you're going to take a risk, you know what that risk is. And when you glitch or dupe or cheat or hack, you know you run the risk of being banned. And they caught him.
You know how it is. Like they always use the thing, oh, well, it's in the game. That means it's fine.
That's an excuse people may tell themselves, but it's not the case. Like, no, it's not a feature that if you like, you know, jump back to the PlayStation menu just as you're dropping something or whatever the fuck that it was that it accidentally makes too. Like, it's not a secret in the game. It's not the goddamn Konami code. It's a shoddy glitch in the game or it's a bug in the game.
You know, the Konami code was actually a developer thing.
I'm okay with that.
All right, just so we're clear. And by the way, I'm kind of playing devil's advocate. I don't give a fuck about any of this. I just know you had to say something. Now, okay, so if you exploit a glitch in a single player game, that's different than a multiplayer game, right? Just getting that out there.
Oh yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
Because remember, we've many times said, hey, if you could find an exploit in a Dark Souls game, fucking do it. You know, we said that many times.
Those aren't necessarily. That's not quite the same thing. Although there is one where like the pathing goes off. Those are more like Dark Souls is designed around those. Dark Souls is designed that they're like, yeah, there's a little corner here that the demon can't get into it. If you roll into it, the demon can't get to you. That's part of the design actually. So in those games, not so much. And in those games, duping and muling or duping or muling your save files, like man, I heavily frowned upon that shit. Like, yeah. Absolutely. Like, when you see somebody who's level 20 who has gear that they definitely fucking shouldn't have, like, yeah, you muled your save file too much. You tweaked out. Like, and I get, like, it even like, I've taken items from people just because I was like, man, I can do this. I've done this before. I just don't feel like going around and doing it fucking again for my 5th goddamn character. So, like, there is a fine line. But a lot of it has to do with, you know, if they like, let's say there's a powerful item that you can get, right? You can have that item. That's fine. Especially if you've got that item and like your buddy's like, I got an extra one of these and like resets their save file. Like, okay, that's fine too. If you have 2 of those items, fuck you. That was never intended to be in the game. That was never supposed to be a thing that happened. I think the line is drawn at like, look, man, if you're negatively affecting other players' experiences, then you're an asshole. If if in Dark Souls somebody wants to toss me Havel's Ring so I don't have to get it a 5th time, okay, I'm fine with that. If somebody wants to mule a level 5 character so they can run through and harass noob players with endgame equipment, you're an asshole. It's a blurry line, but you know which side of it you stand on if you really look.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. If you're fucking up somebody else's experience, then you know it's not a good look. I could understand that. But just quickly, what do you make of some of the reactions to this? Because all I've seen on my end, maybe you've seen something different, is people are sympathetic to him and shitting on Bethesda. People
fucking hate Bethesda now, and I'm not really sure. Like, it was an overnight thing, and I'm still trying to figure out the psychology behind this because it was way bigger than Fallout 76. I'm not sure what else Bethesda did to really piss people off, but like I can't see it just being because of Fallout 76.
I think it's a lot of the things that happened with Fallout 76. So now it's like the wound is already open and it's bleeding, and everybody's like, anything will cause people to get pissed off now.
Yeah, well, no, that's it. People are like super overly sensitive, and the thing is though, like Fallout 76, it's not a mainline game. It's not like you're not getting Fallout 5. It's not like it stopped any other game from being in production. It was just a thing that the fans had asked for, and so Bethesda was trying to do. Even if they failed miserably at it, and it was a complete dumpster fire. I have never seen a fan base turn that fast. And the weird thing is, it's not like it was fucking predatory. It's not like there's a shitload of loot boxes and microtransactions. I mean, they're there, but the game throws so many goddamn Atom points or whatever the fuck they are. You literally never need to buy anything. I've just had surplus in my account from day one. It is actually a very fair and I can't believe I'm saying this because Bethesda did the whole fucking horse armor thing. Like they're treating the players fairly respectfully in terms of the things that you can buy and how much they cost and the free amount of premium currency they give you. It's actually really good. So when you have like really exploitive games and companies doing really shitty things, people are still more mad at Bethesda. I don't get it. The only thing I can think is Bethesda was like the last darling child, and when they turned, people just lost their fucking shit.
Maybe everybody just realized how glitchy those.
No, I think that's what it is. I don't think it's Fallout. I think Fallout 76 was the straw that broke the camel's back. I think this has been building for years with Bethesda games. There's been a lot of people that felt this way, but they were drowned out by people who love these games. Now everybody's on the same page.
I've been saying that.
I've been saying it too.
I refuse to play any sort of Bethesda games because of any games developed by Bethesda because of how horribly glitchy those games are. Are you telling me that you just walk into a room and all of a sudden you go flying into the air for no fucking reason?
Well,
come on.
There's that and how they handled. Well, I think really it's how they handled certain things afterwards, like the nylon bag incident with the rewards. Beginning, the Atom points, the microtransactions, they were kind of outrageous, like $5 for paint and all this shit. So there was this brewing ill will from this game, and then how they handled certain things, like the extras, the physical extras for the collector's edition and stuff, how they responded to people initially. So there's all that bad will built up.
And leaking everybody's names and account numbers
and info. Yeah, so there's all this bad will built up. Then you hear about this. So the media, sort of how I saw this, like they pitched this poor guy. He's like, somebody played this game for 900 hours. That's all people saw, and Bethesda banned him because they felt they had too much stuff. People didn't look at the details of this. They're just like, how dare they? This guy actually enjoyed this game, and you fucking banned him. You are pieces of shit. So they just overlooked any details.
That's my point. They're so ready. They already have it cemented in their minds so much that Bethesda is a fucking dumpster fire. They're just a shit show. That the second they're like, somebody got banned after they played 900 hours, it's like, well, fuck you, Bethesda. Like, nobody asked the very obvious question of like, well, why did they ban him? Like, that's the first thing you should think. I'm sorry if you're like, oh, that motherfucker got red carded and thrown out of the game. That ref's an asshole. Be like, what did you do to get a red card? Those are not easy to get. You have to do some serious shit to get banned. Both like, from like a soccer field or like even from a game, like to just straight up ban your ass. Not even like temporary or, here's the timeout. Just be like, get the fuck out after 900 hours. Yeah. There has to be something that you did. Come on.
I would understand if he didn't post what he did before on Reddit. If he just went on there and he said, Bethesda banned me. I have been playing this game for 900 hours and I did all this shit and they accused me of this stuff. I didn't do it. So if he was smart about it, then I could understand the outrage. They'd be like, yo, this guy's just enjoying himself and you banned him. Like, what the fuck?
Here's my question, though. The thing that I'm finding curious is I read about this. Bethesda was going through, they were clearing out inventories. And anybody who had too much of this stuff, they'd also go through their inventories and clear out all the Nuka-Colas, which they knew people were spawning and abusing. There was a bunch of talk of clearing out a lot of people's inventories who were found guilty of this. There was not a lot of talk about banning people. In fact, there was no talk about banning people. So I'm wondering if there's more to this other than just like, he must have been doing something other than the regular, hack and dupe shit, because they just went through and I was actually a little pissed at Bethesda. I was like, really? You're just taking the items out of the game? You're not fucking kicking those people out of the game? Or at least relegating them to a different server?
Did he advertise how to do it though?
Oh, that might have been part of it. I don't know.
He might. I mean, I don't know. I don't know much about this story, but usually when there's a point man, something like that, where somebody's doing something that nobody else does, and then they post it on Reddit or post it on some sort of blog.
Well, he posted that he was muling stuff between two characters to make different builds, and I think that's what got him busted, right?
Yes. So in other words, he literally painted a fucking target on his head. He shouldn't have said anything.
Right.
And how do you have to mule stuff between two different characters to have different builds? The game literally lets you change your build on the fly.
Oh, I don't know. You'd have to read his excuses there, but
There really isn't
that's what
any.
he said.
Well, unless no, there really isn't any.
Interesting. All right, let's move on here. We're going to go into Rumor Town right now for the next two stories. Rumors. So take all this with a grain or two of salt. And
the biggest grain of salt.
The biggest, yeah, a huge one. All right, so the first one is that Scalebound, which was an Xbox One exclusive, which was canceled, is supposedly going to be coming to the Nintendo Switch.
Oh,
man.
That one feels really rumory.
Yeah, but some, quote unquote credible sources are, saying like, oh yeah, like basically the rumor came out. I forgot who did it originally. I think it was Nintendo Insider, and people were like, I don't know about that. And then some, people from bigger sites were like, oh yeah, that we've heard about that. That's actually kind of true.
Dude, that's some Telemundo drama right there.
Yeah, like this happens, man. But basically, okay, so it was thrown out there by the Nintendo Insider. Then Kind of Funny Games said, yeah, we kind of heard about that. Then Alana Pierce, who was on IGN, was like, yep, I heard that too from one of my insiders. So it's kind of interesting. So I'm like, yo, if this happens, son, and Nintendo even said like, hey, listen, we're gonna announce a game that was completely and utterly canceled that is now back. They never said it was a Nintendo game they were talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be a bold move, Nintendo. That is first blood right there.
How big of an L would this be for Xbox?
Big, considering the fact that Nintendo has pretty much overlap or is going to quickly overlap them in terms of install base. This is fucking insult to injury. Like they fucking gut punched, sucker punched Microsoft, and this is them spitting on Microsoft as they walk by.
Well, I don't know if this is as much Nintendo, like you said, spitting on Microsoft as it's Platinum.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah.
Hideki Kamiya was not happy with how everything went down. And
Hideki Kamiya has been posting a lot of stuff about Switch on his Instagram, like a lot. I definitely think they were doing some sort of research.
So yeah, again, rumor right now, but if this happens, man, I'm gonna be on Twitter all day looking at these reactions. Like this is gonna be a huge L. Like, I don't think you could carry an L that big.
As far as I remember, I think that the game was pretty far along in development, like really close to complete, where they canceled it.
Yeah, I can't say if that was the case or not, but I think probably was. But yeah, this is
like stealing someone's girlfriend kind of drama right there.
Yeah, this is
it's just bad, man. It's just
that's a future feature topic, by the way, if this comes true. But there you go. We just had to throw it out for you guys because that was the big thing that was happening on Monday. Now today, the biggest thing in Rumor Town. This is kind of a follow up to what we talked about last week about how Xbox Live may be coming to Switch and how games like Ori and the Blind Forest and Cuphead. Now the rumor is that Game Pass may be coming to Switch via streaming, and if true, this goes back to what we've been saying on the show for like 2 years now. Microsoft wants to turn Xbox into a service.
He said it over at E3. He openly said, hey, we got another service coming. Even besides Game Pass, there's another one that's coming. He said it. This is it. They want to take gaming everywhere. Their Xbox service everywhere.
Man.
So it's okay.
You, I think, happy. Yeah, go ahead, Britt.
Dude, this is turning into an episode of Dragon Ball Z. So, like, the once strongest warrior now has a new contender that beats the ever-living shit out of him, and the only choice to be able to turn the tide of battle is a fusion dance?
Yes. I'm telling you, I said this last week, and it sounded crazy, but now it's sounding less crazy. I will not be surprised if sometime in the future you're going to have Xbox on your PlayStation. It's insane.
Well, no,
here's the thing. I can't really see Microsoft being something like a third-party developer. I don't think that's ever going to happen. But them providing
they already are
starting.
They're already starting. Yeah, they already are a third-party developer. They put them. They have Microsoft Windows on every PC out there. like software is what they do, so I wouldn't be surprised. Go ahead, Chris. What do you say, man?
Well, yeah, I mean, I agree with you, and I remember we were talking like this on Twitter, and I saw people were replying like, "No, Microsoft's working with Nintendo." I'm like, "No, they're not. Like, this is really like they gave up the IP for Scalebound. Like, even though they concepted it, they don't have the trademark anymore and stuff. They gave up on that game. I don't see how Platinum giving it to Nintendo is somehow a win for Microsoft. That's what I was seeing online. I'm
Yeah.
like, how does that work? Right? They abandoned that game, they canceled it, and Kamiya's obviously giving them the middle finger and is going to give it to Nintendo and finish it on the Switch. And also, like, and Nintendo at the same time is going to get Xbox Live, and they may even get other services like on there. So Microsoft is already becoming a third party developer in that sense. So what's the next step after if you have Game Pass on the Switch, right? And you have Game Pass in other places, what then? Why do you need an Xbox?
Yeah, exactly. And they could potentially make more
Wait.
money. Go ahead, Brett.
What if? Hear me out. What if they're trying to do the iterative system thing by lining up with Nintendo, where essentially you have the Xbox at home to play your super-powered high-res games, but then you have a way to stream or get downgraded versions playing through the Switch. So you can actually take it would be the idea of what the Vita wanted to be with remote play. Kind of like, play your Xbox games on the go through Switch, or when you're at home, play them in full 4K resolution.
Man, that'd be crazy.
And honestly, the cloud has, I hate to say this, but the cloud has come a long way in the last generation. Now they actually do have computer streaming services where you can play, PC games on your laptop, streaming from a server farm somewhere. Now there is a latency issue. We haven't gotten to the point where it's perfect, but
let's see if they can master. If they're willing, if this is true, that they can put it on the Switch, which isn't the strongest tablet out there. If they can do that, that's amazing.
Just for Game By the way, it needs to be said. Yeah, it has to be. Gears of War 4 ain't running on no Switch. It has to be streaming. And that's
it's all streaming.
It's all got to be streaming. It'll be interesting, man. By the way, just quick comment here from Glorious Ward. Thanks for the bit. He knows how to get his comments read. It's hilarious. Nintendo went handheld, Xbox went third party, and PlayStation literally won the old school console war. All right.
The bigger news is just that Microsoft wants to get out of Windows. They want to stop making OSs. I mean, people thought that would never happen, and that's something that they've openly said they want to get out of.
They want to get out of the that's
OS.
the biggest moneymaker, though.
Well, for not for the enterprise end, but for the consumer end.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. So.
Wow, no more Windows. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, that would be crazy. It's the same thing like they did with Office. It's just Office 365. That's it. It's just a service. They don't come out with iterations every year anymore.
That's crazy. What? He goes, with Xbox going this route, the end of Gillette model console business doesn't matter anymore. Okay. Oh, man. Again, we'll see what happens, but these rumors are interesting, but I think they're indicative of what's going on with Microsoft. I think they've already been, laying the groundwork for a couple of years now,
Yeah.
All right. And the last thing, and Manny, we and I talked about this beforehand. It's official, people. The console that's been claimed dead for the last 5 years is now officially dead. PlayStation Vita production is ending in Japan soon. Pour one out.
This is the end. Yet is a friend.
Not bad for a console that was failing, right?
Yeah. Now, obviously, this thing didn't sell us, the numbers that PlayStation Portable did. I'm getting some VG charts, so take that how you will. PlayStation Portable was 80 million. Vita was 16 million. Obviously, those ain't good numbers, but the fact that it held out this long, speaks volumes. It's pretty crazy. But Sony fucked this thing up from the beginning with those memory cards, too expensive and stuff. That killed the whole thing.
Well, what speaks volumes? It's that pretty much everyone kept the Vita alive except Sony.
Yeah, exactly.
They walked away years ago.
Yeah.
Sony. No, what speaks volumes to me is Nintendo getting rich off of Sony's idea because Sony failed to implement it correctly.
Yeah, let's be objective here. The Switch is what people wanted the Vita to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yep.
that's what and it's
except the trophies and the chat and all that. But
yeah, like I still maintain, because again, I don't see the Switch as an exclusive handheld. It's both kind of, right. I still maintain the Vita is the best handheld ever out there, but Sony fucked that thing up. They really did. They pretty much just left it to the wind. If it wasn't for those indie developers and all those what is visual novels or whatever, this shit would have been. And not Riku-san, who's still playing the fuck out of his Vita. It's interesting, man. But yeah, man, I think that was a good point. A lot of people aren't bringing up. It's like, yeah, for a console that's been quote unquote dying for 5 years, it sure as fuck held out a long time.
Yeah, I think that's pretty impressive. I mean, I'm guessing obviously the years go on, the cost to build the damn things is a lot cheaper, and then also people were still making games and people were still buying games for it.
Yeah, limited run. They were doing a bunch of games for it too.
Limited run games.
It's interesting.
Like all those Vita versions of all the games where you can buy the PlayStation 4 version, you get the Vita one after.
This is interesting. So it came out in 2011, December 2011. It's being discontinued in 2019. That's a long run. I didn't realize it was around that long.
That's close to 10 years.
Like 8 years or so. Pretty interesting.
Do you think that this has anything to do with the fact that PS Vita games are coming out of PS Plus?
I don't think so. Actually, Brian, bringing it back around, I think Sony knew this was happening. This is why these games were being taken out. I think you're right about that. Yeah, I think it's the other way around, though.
Okay.
PS Vita games were being taken out because they knew they were going to discontinue this fucking thing.
Yeah.
I didn't put two and two together, but you're right.
PS3 is also being removed from there, too.
And PS3 was discontinued last year. So there you go. So port went up, but I don't. It's going to be interesting because I'm wondering. I don't see Sony going back to the handheld market. I think the handheld market, as it was, I think that shit is dead. But could you potentially see a PS5 doing what the Switch does? Who knows? It's possible.
Can they even do that anymore? Like now that okay, so there's a couple ways to take kind of like patents and things like that. The fact that Nintendo wasn't the first to do this doesn't necessarily matter. The precedent is usually who's the first one to come to market and really make it a recognizable thing, or really make it the angle of their company. Since Nintendo has had the success with this feature that they have, could Sony do something comparable without infringing?
Yeah, that's a good question. But the thing is, Nintendo already ripped off other companies. But you're right about that.
Yeah, but they ripped off companies that weren't doing anything with it. And nobody there's a difference between like filing for a trademark and actively using a trademark. And I imagine that there's at least some leeway in there on patents as well.
Yeah, I have no idea how any of this shit works, so I can't really speak on that. But
I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I don't think it's that advanced. It's literally just a console that you can stick your TV. I mean, you can do that with your phones.
Yeah. But Apple tried to copyright and almost successfully did. The swipe movement. Like, it was not the first thing to use the swipe movement, but their argument was that the iPhone was the first thing to actively use it in a large scale market, and they almost won, and they've won on certain shit like that, which is why some phones, I'm not going to get down that road too far, but it wouldn't be unheard of for Nintendo to be able to say, we popularized this concept. Because of that, nobody else can use it as a selling point.
Popularized and actually making a patent for it are two totally different things.
Not necessarily. Again, like I said, like having a trademarked and having a trademark in use are different things. If you have a trademark just sitting there that's not in use and somebody else uses it in a different market and popularizes it, you can't really sue them. Like, they used it first. They went too public with it first, and that has a lot of weight.
They haven't sued Sony over the Move controls, so
yeah. What are the Move controls? They're Wii controls, They didn't sue them over that. It's interesting. I really can't speak on this. I don't know the legalities or any of that stuff, but it would be interesting. And then Glorious War, this is the point I was going to bring on too. It's like, would we want a weaker, potentially a weaker PlayStation 5 that's portable? See, that's my thing. I'm like, I don't think, I'm speaking for myself right now. I don't think having a weaker console is a good trade-off for having it portable. You know, so I personally wouldn't want them to go that route, but I could understand Sony or Microsoft wanting to emulate Switch because it is doing really fucking well. Again,
I just really want a done right version of the Vita.
Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah,
PSP2 or
They've had
whatever
two
you want to call
chances.
it.
They fucked it up both times.
Well, no, they didn't. The PlayStation Portable was a huge success. You know, $80 million. $80 million. That's how much PlayStation 3 sold. Xbox 360 sold. You know,
it died so like it was popular. It was like the Wii. It was popular at first, and then it fucking died.
Yeah, but it still sold a lot, so you can't say the
so did the Wii.
Yeah, but you can't say the Wii wasn't a fucking success. It was a huge success. You know,
financially.
Yeah. Yes, that's the only measure you really could count on financially. You know.
Well, critically.
Yeah. Critically, you know, people did like the Wii. You know. But the main one that counts. I mean, you're right. There are other measures for success, but the main one that counts. The main one that counts is monetarily, and the Wii was a success. No one could debate that. You know?
Super Mario Galaxy is probably one of the most well-reviewed games out there.
Oh no, that's fine. I'm debating the critical success of the PSP. Okay. Like everybody I know, other than the people on this panel, bought that thing. They were super hyped for it. 4 months later, it was in a cabinet and stayed there until it was dead.
The PSP?
Yeah.
I love my PSP.
Yeah, it's funny because I remember seeing PSP on trains and everywhere.
Yeah, I played the hell out of mine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
PSP was
and that was even before I hacked it.
Well, I got mine to hack it.
By the way, let's just be honest. That's the real reason.
A lot of people got it. Yeah.
Everyone
PSP 1000.
Ever wonder why the Switch is doing so well?
I mean, I think
I'm not saying nothing.
Yeah.
What happened, Brett?
That's why PSP sold more than Vita, was those hacking rumors.
Yeah, man.
Nah, that wasn't the reason. It still would have sold more.
Yeah,
but it did help a lot.
You have to give Sony props though. Like PSP held its own. Obviously, it didn't do anything to the DS, excuse me, but it still was the most successful handheld that was not made by Nintendo. You know, so you got to give them props. Everybody else failed at that. So
and it had great games.
And it did. It had fantastic games.
Great games, but like the build, like the Vita was so much better.
No, I'm talking about the PSP. I'm talking about the PSP right now. But yeah,
no, I know. That's why I'm saying that. Okay, the PSP was terribly designed. It was the opposite of ergonomic.
I think you could. Or actually, it didn't have the thumbstick on the other side. That was a big drawback for it. You know?
The nub. Yeah,
the nub. Yeah, that thing sucked. You know, it's funny because like mechanically speaking, the Vita was so much light years ahead of it. But yeah, I honestly they fucked up with those cards, man. Like $80 cards and shit. It's like, come on, son. That was ridiculous. You know. And apparently they did that because they didn't want people to hack the thing. And ironically, now people are hacking it, and Sony doesn't give a fuck. You know. Yeah. It's interesting, man.
Well, if you're interested in a Vita, go buy one now.
Yeah, shit, you can buy them dirt cheap on eBay, already hacked up, all with a large memory card. You can do the whole thing.
Yeah, because I got the old school Vita. I want to get one of the new models too. You know,
nah, you don't want the new model. It's garbage. They just downgraded.
I know that, but just to have around because it's easier to charge and all that other shit. You know. All right, let me ask again because nobody answered the question, and we'll fluff up the show a little bit. Okay, if you want a chance for us to, or actually, we are giving away a free game courtesy of Spawn on Me. The only thing is, it has to be a $6 game, and you have to be in our Discord. If you're in here right now, if you answer the question, what is your favorite game, we'll give you a free game of your choosing. We're going to do this for another, 10 minutes or so. If not, we'll just do the contest how we normally do. We'll take it to Twitter and bring everybody else on board. But you guys have the chance right now. The first ones, come on. What's your favorite game, motherfuckers? All right, to fluff up time, let's see what have we been playing lately. Adam, we'll start with you. What games have you been playing lately, man?
NBA Live 19. Playing a lot of that, doing the career mode. Playing Modern Combat 5 on the Switch. Still liking that game. More Diablo 3 on the Switch, doing that. And that's pretty much it. I'm trying to keep it light, to give this Division 2 a solid go. But that's pretty much it. Those just those.
So you haven't given up hope on the Division 2 yet?
Oh, I have, but I have no choice. I already did the. I don't know. I'm telling you, I'm trying to go in positive, but right now it's not looking good for me.
Can't stop that pre-order, especially on the digital games.
Can't do it. I wish I was in the UK. If I was with Brian, I could, but here in the States, we can't do that. It's not a law yet.
Yeah, that's crazy. Just like how you can't cancel your Captain Marvel tickets if you already bought them.
Oh, really?
Man. Yeah. All right, Brett, what have you been playing lately?
Oh man, y'all ready for this? Apex Legends.
Oh, what? Excuse me?
Excuse me?
Seriously, I've been playing Apex Legends.
Okay,
that game came out
because last week we all talked about, including you, why you don't like Battle Royale. Why are you playing this fucking game?
Because my big complaint with the Battle Royale system is that for some reason the way they balance this is it punishes hiding and sniping. Like it is really hard for people to snipe in that game. So people are constantly moving in squads. Nobody's actually hiding until the very end. There's a lot of movement. The matches are pretty quick. The game is just kind of fun, man. It's fun when you jump in with a couple of your buddies and you run around talking to them. Of course, we're kind of fucking terrible at it. Like I think the highest we've finished is 6th, but we're figuring it out, and it's fun. And there's something to be said about the competition, man. Like even my buddy.
Yo,
what's the highest we rank?
3.
Excuse me?
On our first try too, man. But yeah, anyway, yeah, go ahead, Brett. Competition.
Oh yeah, my buddy Tony was saying, he's like, dude, I haven't played like an online game in a while. Like, my heart's beating a little fast. I was like, yeah, man, actually, I do like it's actually there's something about an arena competition, and I'm starting to understand why it's kind of a natural evolution of PvP. I mean, I don't have any more beef with Battle Royale at this point than I did with like Gears of War or Call of Duty or any of that kind of thing. Like, I didn't really like the small arena combat, and apparently, if you do Battle Royale right, like it really paces it differently. And I as much as I love building games, I don't like them in my PvP unless it's full open world, like I get to build and defend a castle kind of thing. Like the inclusion of building in the Battle Royale just made Fortnite fucking weird.
The bigger question is, would you have bought this game if it was not free?
Probably not. No, that's definitely a big draw to it. And I probably won't spend any money on it either. That's the other thing. So it's fun, and that's the thing is like we kind of realized why this game exploded the way that it did. Like I played it, I was like, it's not that bad. I don't have a shooter to play right now that I'm necessarily into,
I think people are a lot more forgiving when something is free as opposed to.
Not just that, but like when I downloaded, I was like, dude, it's free. It's like 7 gigs. It downloaded in like 10 minutes, and so I told my buddy about it, and like within 20 minutes, he had it downloaded and could jump on. And we're like, oh man, we're missing a third person in our squad, and they only are doing 3-person squad. So
what if Fallout 76 was free?
I think that the beauty of this game is, or the thing that pulls people in, at least, is honestly the simplicity. It's not the simplicity of the gameplay itself, but of the, there's no RPG elements. There's not the, I kind of understand the hero-based game now, because I never liked picking from an assortment of random characters. But I kind of get a little bit in the sense that there's nothing to level up. There's no real loadouts to go through. You don't have to tweak anything. That's all kind of in the game. And it's all actually very fast paced too. Like you run up, you pick up a shotgun, you see a scope, it's blue, that means it's good. You run over, you pick up the scope, your gun has a scope on it, and you run on. Like the timing and the pacing they've done, it like really has a lot to do with it. Of why I think that it's pretty good. You can as you're running, you can slide down hills. There's all kinds of like movement effects and special abilities. There's just enough stuff in there that Fortnite didn't have. I didn't play a lot of the other Battle Royale games, I'll be honest, but it's much quicker paced than I anticipated it to be.
Interesting. By the way, Brett, I'm a little mad at you right now because you know how it is on Throwdown. We don't really agree on games. It's hard for us to get a consensus. We finally had a consensus on Battle Royale, and you just fucked that up. Thank you.
That's why I was like, when you asked me, I was like, oh no, shit, here it comes.
Well, if there was ever going to be a person to like him, it would have been Brett.
Yeah, exactly. Brett
not only is he not only is he the local contrarian, but he also likes games that have a lot of downtime.
Yeah, it's true. I like PvP games and I like games that have downtime. In this game, like I feel there is still a little bit of downtime, and I feel it's just enough to add consequence. You know, it's enough so that you don't run in and not give a shit if your character dies. And that's the thing that always fucking frustrated me. I'll be honest, and maybe one of the reasons I'm kind of open to this. Like, I fucking hate in Gears of War when somebody just runs in with a shotgun and their only goal is to kill 3 people before one person kills them so that they can keep their KDR high. It's not any kind of realistic competition. Like, it's in no other game or sport or event in life are people so self-sacrificing. And it's just because, boop, you can respawn and you still can win the match even if you're playing like a complete jackass. So I kind of like the whole like, oh no, you died, so I lose? Yeah, you lose. Which makes a sort of sense.
Yeah, it's interesting because when me and Carlos were streaming with Big Mike, if it wasn't for Big Mike, Carlos and I probably would have stopped the stream an hour earlier. We were so fucking bored, you know, because there's just too much downtime, you know. And it's funny because some reviewers are, that like Battle Royale, they're complaining that this game is too fast paced. I'm like, how the hell is this shit fast paced? It's slow as fuck. You know, but you think it's fast paced too, which is kind of interesting. But I have played slower battle royales. Again, just being objective, this is the best battle royale game I've played. I just don't like the battle royale formula. That's my thing. You know,
Huh? What do you mean slow paced? Like I'm curious about that.
Carlos, you want to take this one?
Yeah, if you're going in to win and you have strategy, you have to pace yourself. You can't really go guns blazing. You have to wait and camp and strategically just stay in positions that'll keep you lasting longer in the game. And it's we did that and we got 3rd place, and that shit took 40 minutes, man. Maybe more than 40 minutes just of us not doing anything.
Yeah, most of the time, until the last couple of seconds, we didn't do anything.
Well, why did you play that way then?
Because that's the best way to play it. That's how we got 3rd place. You know?
Yeah, because we wanted to win. We're like, okay, let's try to win.
And that's your goal to win more than to have a good time?
Well, that's the point of playing the game. You don't play it.
I play to enjoy myself.
You just said, okay, but you just mentioned earlier that there are jackasses that play Gears of War that just try to get 3 kills and die. That's their source of fun. So it's like, what's the then our source of fun is not even playing the game. But anyways, it's like what's the point of trying to play these types of multiplayer games if you're not trying to win? Like, if you're trying to have fun and not win, then you might as well play something else or play locally, because you're not doing your teammates any favors unless they're having fun by dying pretty quick. Also, we
don't die pretty quick. The whole point of the game
I'm not saying you are.
It's a shooter game. The whole point of the game is to get into firefights. It's
not.
If I had the option to get 7th place and have 3 firefights, or get 1st place and just hide in the bush the whole game, I'm gonna pick the 7th place. I want to get into battles, and that's the thing. I don't generally care about scores or trophies or loot or anything like that. What I care about is shooting a motherfucker in the face and seeing him go down in front of me. What is best in life. I'd like to see my enemies driven before me and hear the lamentations of their women. I don't give a shit what kind of banner you give me after that.
If a game if I'm playing a multiplayer game, I'm gonna try to win the game. Like, that's the whole point of playing multiplayer. If you're just going in to go guns blazing, you can do that in anything.
That's the thing. The point is to outshoot and out-strategize other people. The cheap way to do it is to hide in the bush and wait until the end like you guys did. Essentially what you did is the video game equivalent to bidding $1 more than the last person on Price is Right. Yeah, it's a way to win. Yeah, it's a proven method. it's also a dick move. And
No,
like
the game encourages you to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
So does Price is Right, but people don't like it when people bid the dollar over, do they?
But that's the smart thing to do if you want to win.
It is, but it still makes you look like an asshole, doesn't it?
Not really.
No.
You're out to win it.
Yeah, if you're there to win, I agree, Carl. Like if you're not playing a multiplayer game, you're trying to win. Like anything else doesn't really
Not
matter.
at all costs. Like winning at all costs in a no stakes game, especially at the expense of having a good time. Like I don't feel like that is everybody's necessary. I understand the concept of like, well, if you're competing, then you're playing to win, right? Like, no, I was raised with sportsmanship, so I would rather lose playing correctly and in the spirit of the game than win by doing some devious, kind of quasi-dickish stuff. Like, and I'm not saying that anyway, I'm not saying it's bad way. You're being sly, and I get that, but that's not the spirit of the game.
Well, for us, it's not being it's not being sly. It's being practical.
That's it. It's a small way.
No. Okay, let me put it this way. Every time that there is a battle royale stream and somebody wins, like the first battle royale stream for Ark, somebody won by hiding in a fucking box in the end zone the whole time, and he got a fucking award, and the public fucking they flipped their goddamn shit. And they basically said, like, no, like the first person to win the Battle Royale was supposed to be immortalized. But the community lashed back so hard on this guy that they undid that and didn't put the guy's name on like a monument in game like they were supposed to. Because the people who were watching these streams, because it was a big thing, they're like, what the fuck is this dirty bullshit? Like it is.
But if you're playing like a video game when you're worried about other people's perceptions of how you play video games, then why play video games at all?
Because I have fun.
So you'd play a video game if you're too scared of other people criticizing you via stream.
No. Okay, so let me put it this way: if you could win in Street Fighter every time by button mashing, would you?
If I wanted to win, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
That's what a lot of these guys do.
Why else would you play Street Fighter unless you wanted to win?
But the good thing about Street Fighter is if you button mash, you'll get your ass kicked.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm glad you brought up Street Fighter because that's what happens with a lot of these, in Street Fighter and a lot of other games where basically they'll spam one specific move that you can't even get out of, and they do that because they want to win. So that does happen, a lot.
And I get that, but do you do that?
No, I don't do that because I want to.
Do that?
But what you do is you try to counter whatever they do.
No, I know, but follow me here. Why don't you do that? If that isn't acceptable,
he knows how to play. So
but here's the thing. Here's the difference. Here's the difference. That is not actually, even though it is acceptable, that is less acceptable in Street Fighter than camping is in a battle royale game.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Like in a battle royale, you're encouraged to camp.
Dude, you don't even run with these communities. How would you know what's acceptable?
I see the shit all the time on Twitter. Everybody loves this fucking game. I never heard anybody saying, "Oh, you shouldn't camp."
What?
Wait, so what makes you the authority on battle royale games now?
Yeah, you're just a convert for like 3 minutes ago.
One of them I definitely played more than most of you guys. There's an entire mechanic.
We played Fortnite. We played the fucking.
I played H1Z1.
The GTA one.
Yeah, I did all those.
Yeah, so it's not like we haven't played them.
I know that you have. Okay, so why does the end ring, the very smallest ring, change between every session of the map? Why is it a different place every time? If they want to actually encourage camping, and it's perfectly fine, they're not trying to discourage it, why do you not know where the end of the game is going to be?
To switch it up.
Yeah, they switch it up, but they're
camping the end goal.
But they're forcing combat. It's like they're like, okay, we know like you guys like the map is too big for fucking all the people, so it's like we're gonna force you guys to fight against each other. So it's like
I'm saying the very last circle is at a different place on the map every single time.
Yeah.
If they were saying it's perfectly okay, and we encourage you to get to the end place and camp, they wouldn't move the circle around. The whole point of them moving the circle around and it being in a different place each map is to discourage people from camping the final zone.
I disagree. I think they just do that just to switch it up every map. You know, I think that's all it is. I don't think it's
because it's the same fucking map the whole time. So
yeah, exactly. So they need to do something different. You know,
and it's like one game. Our last game that we played, we spent like 2/3 of the game just running, trying to get out of the fucking circle that was closing on us.
Yeah.
and then what happened, Tony?
Yeah.
We camped in that. Well, I was dead, but our team camped in that little spot because we had to chill. And then they fucked up Mike.
Yeah. Yo, Mike, you good?
Yo, Mike, you good?
Yeah.
I just can't believe that you guys are actually advocating that the game actively encourages you to camp as the only legitimate way to compete.
That's not the only one, but it is one, and it's a crucial one, I would say, and that's a problem. I'd rather play an old school, and I don't like these type of games, an old school Call of Duty map where it's like mad small and everybody runs around shooting each other. I don't like that type of shit. I'd rather play that than a battle royale game. You know, at least there's still action going on the whole time.
Yeah, I agree. I rather play games that are smaller and make you adapt to the maps rather than just the maps like with random like circle points or whatever the hell those shits are, and sort of trying to make new experiences that way. It's like, nah, it's not my style.
Yeah, boring, man. But if you like it, that's great. You know, because
I just laughed because I was like, yeah, your whole perception seems to be like, I don't like this one play style, even though it's not the only viable play style. So I don't like the game. Like, I'm not saying that you should or that you will like it. I find it hilarious that you're like, well, the most successful way we've had of playing is really boring. And then the conversation went to, well, there are other ways to play, and you agreed.
But they're not as smart though. That's my thing. It's like, if you really want to survive, you kind of have to stay away from other people until like the ass end, you know. And I'm like,
yeah, it's like a survival horror game. You're trying to get your equipment and be ready before you actually interact with people. If you just go in and try to land the same place where a whole bunch of other people are landing, then it's like whoever freaking gets lucky enough to get a weapon first. How fun is that? You're just fucking swinging at people. The melee system is pretty bad, so it's like you're trying to melee people to death. And it's like, oh, okay, I died like 2 seconds in.
Dude, you're talking about the first 20 seconds of the game. Like, I'm talking about, okay, so you land, you grab a weapon, right? You can have the option to run to the end zone and then camp it. But let me tell you another option, because there's shields and health regenerating things. There is no negative consequence to having an encounter if you defeat your opponent. In fact, if you defeat your opponent, you get to pick up all the rare loot that they have. So if you have two teams, one camping from the very beginning and one who has murked 3 other teams, the team that's murked 3 other teams is way more heavily geared than the one that's camped the whole time.
Nah, I disagree, because there's a limit to the gear you can get. Every time we played, and we played conservatively, we always got all the gear. The helmets, all 3 shields, like badass weapons, snipers. We were always decked out. We didn't even have to fight anybody.
Were they all purples?
Yeah, they were purples. What? Yeah, they were purples. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yes. It's on stream. The evidence is right there.
Did you just find them?
Yes. Yes, we just found them.
Yeah, so every time we played conservatively, we always found the weapons, and we always walked miles and miles and miles, because most of the teams were already dead, and we had to fucking look for people. And when we didn't find people, we're like, okay, let's just chill here then.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. It's all documented. It's all there on the stream, you know.
I just
they ain't lying, man.
Yeah. No, I'm just.
Yeah.
Am I the crazy one here?
You are the crazy one.
Yeah, you're the crazy one.
You're upset on how people play the game. That's
that's not even it. I'm not upset.
Count down to 10, 9.
By the way, it's funny that we're calling Brett the crazy one, even though everybody else loves this fucking game except for like the rest of us. But
no,
in a world where everyone thinks each other crazy.
Apex is that butter game right now, man.
It's free.
The concept of being like, oh man, I wish there was somebody to shoot. I'm gonna sit here, like, go find somebody to shoot.
But
no, because
we did that.
Not only like it was never 100 teams. Like it was like what 20 some teams, 30 some teams, and after the first couple of minutes, most of them are dead. So you're just in a fucking huge ass fucking map that is way more than capable of supporting twice as many teams as started. So there's way less interactions in that game, and even especially to Fortnite. And most teams are camping anyways. When we got the third place, the teams that we fought at the end were just chilling in the fucking cut.
That's it. That's what they do. That's what they do.
And we're like, oh, those motherfuckers were just fucking waiting for us the whole fucking time.
Yeah, they were playing smart.
Count back from 10. 10. 9. 8.
Yo, such vastly different experiences.
Yeah, but real talk though, and this was on stream too. The most badass part I had was when I jumped off a cliff and I killed 2 motherfuckers simultaneously with 1 punch. I felt like a god. One punch. Yeah, because I didn't have a weapon. I'm like, okay, I have no weapon. There's 2 motherfuckers there. Let me see if gravity will help me kill these guys. And sure enough, I killed those motherfuckers. And it should have been 3 kills, but they revived the other guy that I punched. Because that's the other thing that's only, it's like either the maps, the matches take way too long, or they're over fucking quick. When you land and you have no gun and a motherfucker in front of you with a gun, it's like, oh, that kind of stinks.
Why are you landing next to other people?
No, because they're landing next to us. It's not that we choose.
Dude, you can see which way people are banking.
Yeah, and they come to you, son.
Well, like,
why are you jumping first?
Well, also, like,
what do you mean everybody jumps at the same time?
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
No,
everybody jumps.
Dude, it's on the fucking stream. Everybody jumps at the same time.
No, you get to jump out of the shuttle, which crosses the map. And it tells you how many people are left in the map or in the shuttle at any given point. So if you want to wait until you're the last people in the shuttle and then drop down, you can.
Did you see that? Because when we were playing, everybody dropped at the same time.
I don't know. I don't even pay attention to that part.
Because that's one of the things you could do in Fortnite. You'd be like, yo, I'm just gonna hang up here as long as fucking possible. You can't, unless we're wrong. You can't seem to do that in this game.
Yeah, you can. Maybe they just added it, but you definitely can.
Yeah, maybe they did add it because when we were playing, it was literally the first night it came out.
But like I mentioned, if you drop next to someone, then you're either gonna die real quick or you're gonna spend a whole time just trying to melee each other. And that's just
exactly.
Or if you drop somewhere where there's nobody, you get all your weapons. You get you. It's easy. One small area has pretty much everything you need. And once you got all your shit and you're like, okay, I'm locked and loaded. You check to see how many teams are left. Though it's like, it's 10 teams, 12 teams. Now I have to find these motherfuckers.
They're all the way in Albuquerque.
They're all the way in Albuquerque. You're in fucking New York chilling. It's like I have to walk all the way to fucking Albuquerque to find 3 people that are just waiting for me. And it's like, all right, man, let's do this. And then we wait. And then that's the part that I don't like. It's like I have to fucking wait so long. And it's like, and Brett, like you're someone that sort of fills in the gaps when it comes to time. And it's like you make your own adventures and shit. So it's like it's easy for you to spend your time and have more fun with that time. But for us, it's like, God damn, I just want to fucking do something.
I mean, I kind of get that, but like we're constantly doing it. Like, if we're working in a squad, we're usually pretty militant, as in like one person's on point lookout, one person's on scavenging, or one person's out scouting, and 2 people are chilling in the cut to pull a clinch maneuver. We're constantly watching the horizon. And
this is after you get all your stuff.
This is within like 2 minutes. You land.
No, I'm saying like after you get your stuff and you're just trying to find people.
Yeah. Yeah, you just don't. I've never had the only problem I've had with landing near other people was going for a high priority like air shuttle target that was flying over the thing, and everybody rushed that thing. But the rest of the time, like even when you're jumping, like you can look behind you and be like, "Oh, these motherfuckers are following us! Quick, cut to the right and head for those buildings." And to the west of us.
Like I'm saying, let's say you land in a spot where no one's at, and you get all your guns, your ammo, your armor. And now the thing is you have to find people to destroy. And it's like that's the part that takes a long time.
Are you not paying attention to where the other teams are landing? You should know that there are people directly to the west of you.
Well, but they're never there when you get your shit. They're either dead or they moved along.
I go for maybe a couple minutes at a time without seeing people at most, and usually then it's trying to upgrade our weapons or things like that. Like I've never gotten fully decked out in purples before I met somebody else. I'll be lucky to catch one purple before I run into one or two teams.
I don't know, man. Maybe you're not seeing the glitches like we are.
But we're not seeing
purple.
Oh, shit.
Nah,
We're not seeing. That's a joke. Obviously, there's no glitches. And shout out to this game. It came out on day one. Brian pointers out came out on day one. No fucking hitches. No online connectivity issues. That shit was running smooth as fuck.
Man, they got practice. I mean, they made friggin' Titanfall, which was their first online game.
And again, like I said, this game, mechanically speaking, is sound. The shooting is good. The traversal is good. That it's really very nice looking game. It's just the core battle royale mechanics I'm just not a fan of. That's my biggest issue. But if you like it, that's cool.
Let me ask you, flip the script on this one. Ask you guys, what kind of PvP, if you did like a PvP game, would you like? If somebody said, I don't just say no PvP.
No, that's my answer, obviously. But Carlos is a PvP guy, so is Adam. So you guys could take this one.
So for just shooting games or RTS games also, or like?
Let's say, what is your approach to like if you want to make a shooter that's not an arena-based shooter? What's your best answer? Is it capture the flag kind of thing? Is it a progressive map like Battlefield?
No, well, it's like for me the ultimate multiplayer game is Halo 2's multiplayer, and that has different game types. It has capture the flag, it has assault, it has team deathmatch. It has solo, the lone wolf, which is just like you against everyone, and yeah, like it has different game types. So it's like the way you play the game is it has a ranking system that gives you sort of a progression of what your skill level is. So if you win games, your level goes up. If you lose games, your level goes down. So people, the more you climb up the ladder and you're trying to get your level up, those ranking systems, they even make it so they're sort of unique ranking systems, and they're sort of a bragging rights to other people that see you. And by trying to get better, you want to keep playing and you want to win the game, so it makes people play serious. And that's my best way. It's like there's no in Apex Legends and in pretty much most multiplayers now. Like, there's no consequences to losing games. There's no consequences to winning games. So people generally don't care about strategy. They don't care about progression. They don't care about objectives. They just care about, I don't know, doing stupid shit or going their own course. Like you mentioned, the kill to death ratio. A lot of people that has been huge. That people didn't care about that in Halo 2.
They hide that now. A lot of games hide the KD.
Yeah. So it's like I like games that also I like multiplayer games that leave you on a level playing field. It's like, let's say you're playing Halo 2 Big Team Battle, which is 8v8 on an objective that's like capture the flag. You have to get the flag and put it on the other team's base. Okay, do a symmetrical map that has these amount of weapons available to you on your side of the base. These weapons available on the other side of the base. Okay, so this guy is going to get the sniper because he's the best sniper of the whole team. This guy's going to get the shotgun because he's the one defending close quarters. This guy's going to stick with the battle rifle because he's got the fucking headshots down. And there's a fucking rocket launcher in the middle. Are we going to decide? There's a rocket launcher in the middle that's up for grabs for both teams. Are we going to decide to risk our lives to go for that rocket launcher and lose everything? Or are we going to stay back and try to pick him off with a sniper or something? That's the kind of strategy I like. That's the kind of strategy that makes me play and keep playing multiplayer games. Not the ones where they force you to the action, where they tell you this is what you need to do. This is a fucking circle that's getting smaller, and we're gonna force you to. If you don't, I don't care if you guys want to fight each other or not. We're gonna force you to do that. And yeah, you can camp to to the very end, and we'll give you more credit for that and give you a third place finish, and it's gonna help you.
Yeah, but you haven't answered my question.
What's your question?
What non-arena based.
Halo's not an
shooter
arena.
mode. Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Arena is like Unreal Tournament.
Halo is.
Arena is like
It's a small area. It's like an arena. It's like a small room, and you're just running around killing each other.
Yeah, these aren't rooms. They have bases. They have creeks. They have rivers. They have, they have structures.
It is a static playing field of several map types that you play over and over again. They're static maps. They're non-progressive PvP.
Wait, so what's a progressive?
Yeah, I'm confused now.
Like Battlefield, for instance, where it's moving the map along and doing objective-based gameplay that changes contextually. I'm saying very okay, Halo set the standard for what PvP was for years and years. Here is a large area, small if you don't have vehicles, big if you do have vehicles, and there's like 5 different game modes that you can do in them, and weapons spawn on the fields. You can start with a certain loadout. That was the classic game mode. I'm saying besides that classic game mode of PvP, when people are bored of that style of PvP, what other game option?
Oh, Horde.
How would you evolve?
Horde. That's a different mode.
PvP. He said PvP. PvP.
How would you evolve that?
So you could do Annex, then play Annex.
But that wasn't the original question. You asked which do you like? What kind of multiplayer do you prefer?
No, he said what kind of PvP.
Yeah,
domination. I said what kind of
PvP
fun. Do you like? And what kind of non-arena PvP do you like?
Oh, you asked the first question only, so that's why I didn't answer the second one, because you just asked that right now.
No, that was the original thing that I said. Go back and listen to it.
Yeah, Carlos, that's what he asked, bro.
I only heard what's your favorite? Like, what PvP would you like?
That's not arena based. He did say that.
But Halo's not arena based.
It's a large arena. Come on.
I don't know. We were just getting into semantics now.
Okay, so let me rephrase the question. How would you guys evolve the PvP experience beyond the classic Halo experience?
For shooters? So for shooters, right?
Yeah.
Because you're saying
I would do it I would do it the same way Division did for the Dark Zone.
There you go. That's the kind of answer I'm looking for, Adam, and I definitely agree with that. I fucking love the Dark Zone because it is a fresh take on PvP.
Yeah.
But Carlos, is there anything like that you enjoy, or do you just believe that Halo is the pinnacle?
Halo's the pinnacle. PvP has gone to trash for the most part. Call of Duty ruined a lot of stuff. Even though I like Call of Duty a lot of the things it did kind of ruined it for everyone. Especially your progression, you're getting experience just for playing. It's like everyone wins. It's like, no, not everyone wins. You're either good or you're not. And that's the part that I hated about.
They should have they sort of did with the ranking one, the rank mode. You have the public and the rank mode. And just switch things up, because I mean you have to still make it accessible to people, because that was always the issue. Even now, it was like shit. A few months in, you jump in and you just get your ass handed to you. Like, damn, well, you haven't been playing for a while and you don't know the map, and so a lot of people get discouraged and don't play. Which is why
you can play unranked.
Yeah, you can play on ranked, but people still suck.
Dude, assholes going to unranked to warm up on noobs. That's all unranked becomes.
Yeah, but if they can do that for anything. It's like if they don't have they're always gonna have a venue to be assholes. Like you mentioned it yourself, there's assholes who play Apex Legends who just camp all the time.
Yeah, well, but what's the point of having a ranking system if it doesn't do what it's designed really to do?
It is designed to do. If you get good at the game, you're gonna progress.
But isn't it also supposed to put lower tier players together?
Yeah, the lowest tiers with the lowest tiers, the higher tiers with the higher tiers. You climb up the ladder. If you keep winning your games, you're gonna climb up the ladder. If you don't, if you keep losing, then you're gonna be playing against people who keep losing like you do. Like just pinning everyone against everyone, regardless of their skill level, to me doesn't seem right. If you just want to, if you're playing in a competitive outlet, if you just fine playing against whoever, then that's fine too. That's why I like
No,
unranked.
I liked ranked, or I like ranked. I just feel that the free for all mode or the unranked always like turns into a fucking just
Well, that's what multiplayer is now. It's just a whole bunch of unranks. Like you get matched up with anybody, unless you're playing like StarCraft or fucking Heroes of the Storm, where there's an actual rating system.
Oh, StarCraft did it right.
Yeah, StarCraft's ranking system is legit because not only like if you want to get diamond, you have to be fucking good.
Yeah, dude, like I don't know, like that's one of those things I like about consequence in games. Like the second you're like at the bottom of one rank, you're like, motherfucker, I swear to God, like you're either the top of your last rank or the bottom of your new rank, and you're just terrified that like somebody's gonna knock you back down.
Yeah, and I always bring up Halo, but like everyone, if you were playing a high ranking match and you were playing by yourself, first of all, you wouldn't do that. But even if that happened, you would get people that had mics and would corroborate because no one that was playing with you wanted to lose that ranking.
No, I agree with that. The point that I'm coming from is, I guess ever the contrarian, like I love Halo. I loved Halo multiplayer. That was a long time ago, and I'm sick of that same mode over and over again. Here's a space. We made it a little bit bigger this time, and you can play it 6 different modes in it. I don't give a fuck. I really don't give a fuck. I want some kind of open world PvP, or I want PvP with consequence, or something that's progressive, something that moves along. I am so sick of playing these same 8 rooms over and over and over, and always coming from these same spawn points, and reloading the same way.
But if you play Apex Legends, it's the same fucking room every time.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Just because it's one room, it's a gigantic room, and I haven't played it enough where I've started to have issues, but like I don't really come in from the same place. Like it's more the spawn point than the terrain, to be fucking honest with you. Because when you spawn over and over and over and over and over from the same place, doing the same thing, it becomes this repetition of, okay, run 30 feet, turn left, turn right, turn left, turn right. There should be some guys over to your left. Check them. Okay, turn right. There's a gap over there that people come out of. You memorize every little bit of the fucking map. And that's the thing that drives me crazy, is that when people get down to efficiency level things, like where they're, they know where to throw the fucking knife into the air, or where they know as soon as they spawn, if they can shoot or throw a grenade over here, they're likely to cap a kill or something like that. Like that kind of thing is what is excused with progressive multiplayer games. That kind of thing isn't going to happen in the Dark Zone for the most part. That kind of thing isn't going to happen in a battle royale game even.
You know what my PvP game of all time is?
What's that?
None.
Well, I kind of figured that. I thought you were going to give us a surprise.
By the way, I'm going to kind of pull a little bit of rank because I actually really want to hear everybody's thing, but we're running a little over time, and I can just feel the energy dipping.
Energy? I got energy,
yeah,
man.
By the way, so if you guys don't mind, I'm going to be like Tony Polak because this is a really good discussion, but I want that energy to be higher. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, man, you want me to yell, man?
Yeah, man, I'm gonna get heated now.
Yeah, well, unless you guys want to keep it going, we'll keep it going another half an hour.
Well, I still haven't said what game I was playing.
Yeah. I mean, do you guys? Okay, we have 2 options here. You either end the show now, finish up what the games we're playing, or finish up this discussion about PvP.
I ain't doing nothing.
If you guys ain't doing nothing, let's keep it going. Then fuck it, because I think it's interesting. Because I still want to hear from Chris and Brian and shit. The other PvP guys. So fuck it, let's do that. Chris, answer Brett's question. This should be interesting.
Wait, what specifically?
Yeah, all right. So everybody have a good night.
I think we're ready to wrap it up.
Yeah, all right. It's 4 a.m. here in Australia, so
fuck. All right, Manny, what have you been playing lately, man?
You know what I've been playing? Kingdom Hearts.
Nice.
Not consistently though. Because obviously I've been traveling up to New York every single day, and I get home at around, well, not at this time, but I get home pretty late, so I don't want to play anything. But my weekends are like that. That's my reward.
Nice. Chris, what are you playing lately?
Well, I just platinum Resident Evil 2.
Damn! Carlos, you know what you got to do, son? Damn! Damn, dude.
Yeah, so I gotta move on from that. I might try out Far Cry New Dawn.
Well, yeah, it's a fun little side game, man.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I grinded on Resident Evil. The last the last annoying thing I had to do was not open the trunk during a playthrough. So
Oh man, that's brutal. That's crazy. So there you go, man. You got that platinum there. No one could take that shit away from you. Unless it's Sony. What have I been playing lately? You already know, my little Halo. So that's what I play. What the fuck was I playing before that? Yeah, I played Far Cry New Dawn. Yeah, I think that's it. I haven't really.
You finished Crackdown.
I did. I forgot about Crackdowns. Yeah, I played Crackdown. Fun game, but like we talked about on Sunday, I'm not gonna die in a hill for it either. You know, it does what it needs to do. I like the simplicity of it. You know, I appreciated that. But I played. I'm moving on. You know, but I'm trying.
Hey, you know what, Tony?
What up?
You won't die in that hill. Neither will Mike Ybarra.
Yeah, oh shit, you know. Yeah, what's up, Mike Ybarra? You know. By the way, Mike Ybarra, you know what? I'll stop. I love how this dude was talking all. Oh, we need crossplay. Why isn't Sony allowing it? Then when Sony does allow it, he doesn't say shit. You know, very interesting there. You know, Carlos, what have you been playing lately besides Heroes of the Storm?
Yo, man, I haven't played that shit in a long time.
What?
You know, I've been playing. So we played Halo Combat
Ever since
Evolved.
Blizzard fired everybody.
Damn.
Yeah, man.
Son,
Fucking Blizzard, man. Screw Activision.
What's up, dear?
Tell me how you really feel. Yeah,
Oh,
Carlos,
I'm doing good, man. How are yourselves? So yeah, Halo Combat Evolved. We beat that. You know, fucking died a million times, but that show was fun as hell. I beat Resident Evil 2, the first playthrough, or the first run. And Crackdown. Crackdown, I mean, it's not as bad of a game as everybody makes it out to be, but it's not great. It's just a pretty decent game. So,
by the way, fuck the flood. Just getting that out.
Oh
there.
yeah,
Fuck,
yeah, man.
Fuck the flood.
Fuck the flood, man. Because that shit, they come from everywhere. They just won't stop coming, and it's like, man, they get so fucking annoying. Especially that one part, man. Where the Sentinels are.
Yeah. Oh
they're just coming in fucking waves, man. When you're trying to follow the fucking
robot, right?
Also the Spark.
Yeah, so fuck that bullshit. You mean Peter Dinklage, man, the original one? Fucking bullshit.
OG.
I hated that part.
Yeah.
Right. Brian, what have you been playing lately, sir?
Nada. Not been playing shit.
Wow.
Warframe is under lockdown, man.
Warframe's on lockdown still.
Free Brian Machuma.
Free Brian Machuma.
Damn, man.
No, again, I was just watching a bunch of anime, so nothing much.
My man.
All right, time to start anime right now. Let's go.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
JoJo Season 4 just started.
Damn, you're there already?
Mm-hmm.
Did you like Season 3/2?
Yes. I thought it was really, really quite good. The ending, Dio's stand, like
yeah.
Oh, I now actually get the meme of the steamroller. I actually get the meme now. Like now I know where that comes from. Yeah. Yeah, that's about it. Nothing.
I knew what it was from.
Also been reading a lot of Goblin Slayer. I'm just really enjoying that.
Wait. Excuse me? Reading?
Yeah, reading it.
Oh shit! So did you watch the anime?
On paper?
I watched on digital papers. I watched like the first episode, and then I got interested, and then I was like, okay, you know what? I am not going to wait until like the whole thing's out. I might as well just read now and then just catch up that way. So yeah, I've just been reading.
Because the first season is over.
Okay, you know what? I'll watch that.
Yeah, I watched it. It was okay.
But yeah, reading that. That's
you still have to read the episodes too.
That is true.
Yeah, he ain't wrong about that. All right. So yeah, we'll ask that question. I'll be like, Brett Murdoch asked, "What?" Hey, fuck that, man. It's our show. We can do what we want. You know. All right. So again, we are on the actually for the contest, guys. So we got all your names. So we're gonna and we're gonna just throw it out to the public as well, and we'll answer on Sunday. We'll have an announcement. You know, all that shit, and yeah, it'll be good stuff, man. Throwdown, man, courtesy of Spawn on Me. All right. So yeah, and obviously, if you want to join us on Discord, links are available on our Twitters, right here on Twitch, or over on YouTube, everywhere, man. Or you can even just ask us, you know. And yeah, I think that's it, man. So thank you for watching and listening. Subscribe to Throwdown on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. Follow us on Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook at Throwdown Show. Links are located in the description below. Once again, I was your host, Tony Polanco. And tonight I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
See you later, guys. Hopefully you'll see me next week on the next episode of The Throwdown.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
Peace out.
Brett Murdoch.
It's been real.
Adam Vale.
Don't drink and drive.
And Brian Manjoma.
No matter how bad things get, no matter how bad you mess up, remember one thing and one thing only. You haven't messed up as bad as Jesse Smollett.
Man, my man Juicy, you fucking up. That's all I'm saying, man. You fucking up. All right, guys. We'll see you on Sunday, man. Later.
Later, guys.
Deuces.